Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Export Ale. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. Canadian Tire Dealers with 320 stores to serve you across Canada. And by the Ford Motor Company of Canada, on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. At the Nassau Coliseum on Monday night, the New York Islanders left the ice triumphant in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, needing one more victory to capture the Stanley Cup. And that chance for the Islanders comes tonight at the Philadelphia Spectrum, which will be its usual noisy place across the street from Veterans Stadium, which may be quiet for some time if the baseball players go on strike. The Philadelphia Flyers finished first and had a record-breaking unbeaten streak, but never experienced the one game that they absolutely had to win. Tonight, that is the case, and there is work to be done on both sides right up to game time.
Yeah, you don't have to tell the announcers. I think they'll know. Sure. Okay, you doing?
The aim of the New York Islanders tonight is to have their name etched on the Stanley Cup for the first time ever. During the game, the cup will obviously be located elsewhere in the Philadelphia Spectrum. But following the game, the Islanders are hoping it is right back here in their dressing room for formal presentation. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge. Welcome to game number 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, again seen on Hockey Night in Canada, the Hughes Television Network, and the USA Cable Network. The Islanders have been itchy for a close-up look at the Stanley Cup since winning game number 4 on Monday. 2 full days off may not serve them well. The Philadelphia Flyers, on the other hand, have injuries to try to get better. And they need some time to try to regroup their forces and look at the possibility of winning 3 games in a row. Can the Flyers do that? Well, they went 35 in the regular season without a loss, so yes, they are capable of doing that. With more on tonight's game, let us join the man who will be starting the play-by-play call for tonight's game, Dan Kelly.
This is Billy Smith's locker. He's a man who's won most of his publicity in the playoffs from the way he keeps his goal crease area clear. However, he's got 14 wins, more than any other goaltender in Stanley Cup playoff history. It is a big factor and a big candidate for the Conn Smythe Trophy. I'm Jim Robson. This is the stick and the sweater of Brian Trottier. 23 years of age, he's already won a Hart Trophy, a scoring title. Tonight, maybe his name will go on a Stanley Cup.
I'm Dick Irvin, a young man who wears this sweater. Denny Potvin played in only 31 games this past season, and a lot of people spent a lot of time saying, what's wrong with the New York Islanders? But here they are, 60 minutes away from a possible Stanley Cup victory. It's been a different season and now a different playoff situation for the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's go to the Flyers dressing room. Here is Gary Dornhofer.
I'm in the Flyer dressing room, and this is a place I used to sit for 11 years, and I was in this position, just like the Flyers are now, on the brink of elimination. And you know, you look back and it is a real time of soul searching. Every individual has to ask himself, what can I do tonight to help us win this hockey game? You look around the room, DuPont, McLeish, Holmgren, Leach, all guys that have been here before. They have to be leaders, but everybody else also has to be a leader out there. They have to go out in that ice and make things happen. Don't let the Islanders take the play to them, but go after them, and you'd be surprised what'll happen. You know, there's a slogan that reads in the Flyer dressing room. It is not possible to win high-level success without meeting opposition, hardship, and setbacks. But it is possible to use setbacks to propel you forward. And I think this certainly applies to the Flyers tonight. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but I'll tell you one thing. They'll probably come up with the best effort so far in the playoffs. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage will return in just a moment.
It's for people like you, people who do what you want at Canadian Tire. Anything you want to.
This summer, you want your car in perfect condition, so get it fixed up now at Canadian Tire. Whether you do it or we do it for you, we have the things you need and the prices you're looking for.
It's for people like you, people who do Canadian Tire.
new Thunderbird. Smaller than last year, sleeker, with electronic magic, like the optional keyless entry system and digital speedometer. And my kind of luxury. No wonder it's such a hit.
That old black magic weaves a brand new spell.
All it takes is a test drive at your Ford dealer.
Now, from Everready, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s. When ordinary carbon batteries are dead and gone, the Energizer lives on. In toys like this, the C-size Energizer runs 790% as long as ordinary batteries. 790% for this new electronic world. The Energizer.
The Energizer, Energizer. For life.
Longer life.
The amazing Nikon EM. The automatic camera that warns you when your exposure's not right. The EM actually lets out a gentle beep beep. That beep beep tells you to make a simple adjustment for a great Nikon picture every time.
The fantastic Nikon EM? The camera that goes beep beep?
You mean beep beep.
That's what I said.
The familiar cry, "Let's go Flyers," cannonades around this jam-packed Philadelphia Spectrum as the teams have entered the ice, and the sight job continued. The teams tried to wait one another out to see who would come on the ice first, but the Flyers got there, and when the Islanders came on, Gary Dornhofer, they had to hear the standing ovation, the "Let's go Flyers" chant, read the signs. Does that have any difference to the New York Islanders right now?
I don't think they're really thinking about that. Possibly the Islanders would try to block that away from anything that they're trying to concentrate on tonight's hockey game. Of course, anytime you come into Philadelphia, these are Flyer fans. They live and they die with whatever the Flyers do out there, and so you can expect the rousing welcome and to try to inspire them tonight and get them back into the series. Dan Kelly.
I think if they need any inspiration, it may come from a right winger by the name of Paul Holmgren, who was supposed to be out for the rest of this series with a knee injury. Jimmy Watson, a defenseman, out with a shoulder or collarbone problem. Both of those two are in the lineup tonight. Watson really isn't a surprise, Dick, but Holmgren, they told us, probably would not play again in the series. So that may be just a little bit of an edge. There is Holmgren, number 17. Bad knee and all, but it's do or die, and he's going to give it a shot.
And with Holmgren in the lineup, John Paddock, who got one of their 2 goals in Game 4 Monday night, is not playing. Neither is Norm Barnes. He's sitting out tonight, the Flyers defenseman, but his wife, Sid Barnes, is again walking to center ice and will again sing the national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Spectrum is jumping tonight. The Flyers face elimination, trailing 3 games to 1. The officials for tonight's hockey game, the referee is going to be Wally Harris, a 44-year-old veteran in his 16th year of the National Hockey League. The linesman, a 42-year-old 16-year veteran, John D'Amico, and 32-year-old Ray Scampanello, a 9-year veteran. The starting goaltenders, For the Islanders, Billy Smith, his 19th playoff game at 2.58 goals against average and 14 wins, more than any other playoff goaltender in history. Pete Peters, the rookie at the other end, his 12th playoff game at 2.59 goals against average. So the Islanders with a chance to bring home the Stanley Cup with a victory tonight as we look at Al Arbor and that New York hockey club. The Flyers can force a game again in the island on Saturday afternoon. So the question is, will there be a Stanley Cup parade in Long Island or on Long Island on Saturday, or will there be Game 6? We'll find out. Here's DuPont to Daly as the Flyers work it to Bridgman. He cleared it in. Smith back to the net to Lorimer. Now held in by DuPont. Bridgman, number 10 for Philadelphia. Dumps it in, back of the net. Bossy has it for the Islanders. Trying to clear it, DuPont knocked it down. DuPont shoots and a chest save. Rebound, Goring's a shot. And another save by Billy Smith. 2 in a row. Back comes Lorimer, number 4. Trying to work around DuPont. Lorimer, centers one. Loose in front and shot wide by Putback. Held in by Goring. DuPont for Philadelphia. Clears one to center. Dennis Putback. Over to Lorimer. Clark almost stole it. Now Goring into center. Shoots, hit the goal post. Trying to center. Clark knocked it down. Clark to Leach, number 27. Reggie Leach leaving it for Barber. Shoots one. Leach a shot. Smith sprawled and Rob Leach. And back come the Islanders. 3 chances so far for Philadelphia. Puck cleared in by Gillies. Gillies and Wilson jam up back of the net, and it's held there for a faceoff. And the Flyers out.
Boy, oh boy, a lot of people wondered how this game would start, Gary Dornhofer. A very good start is important for Philadelphia. They can't do much better. What a save by Smith.
Well, that was his third one. Reggie knocks this right out of the air. Look at that toe slide out there to keep Leach off the scoreboard. You know, you talk about goaltending coming up with a big save. Already, Bill Smith has come up with 3.
Face-off between Goring and Clark to the right of the Flyer goal. 18:45 left in the first period, and Clark wins the important face-off to Wilson to Barber. Morrow tying Barber up. Morrow holding it in. And back goes number 3, Ben Wilson. Wilson being watched by Goring, directs a little traffic. As McElhargy on his left, but goes to the right side to Leach, knocked down by Gillies. Here's Sutter. Wayne Sutter shooting it in. Wilson for Philadelphia. Quickly cleared it. Lane knocks it down. Lane centers one. Here's Merrick for New York, and Barber breaks that up and comes with Leach to center. Barber, number 7, checked on the play by Lane, and Lorimer gets the puck. Lorimer to Gillies. To Merrick. Wilson breaks it up and shot it to center. Here's Paul Holmgren. His first shift of the game as he dumps it in. Smith cleared it away. Holmgren runs Canelli into the boards in the corner. Linsman centered one, and Billy Smith gives it to Nystrom, who shoots it to center. Busnick knocked it down, tried to set up front. Nystrom fires it in for New York. Busnick to Holmgren. Now to Linsman. Putback gets a piece of hit. Lorimer back to get it for the Islanders to Nystrom. And he shot it to center. Here's Busnick, number 28. Dumps it right back in for Philadelphia. Putback. It's away from Linsman. Now feeds it to Canelli. Going to be a penalty against the Flyers. Now Nystrom. Shoots. Stick save by Peters. Rebound is taken away by Watson. And now a high sticking penalty against Philadelphia. I believe Linsman. From the Spectrum in Philadelphia, this is Stanley Cup 80.
In the Kensington Market area of Toronto, many people have English only as a second language. So the local Scotiabank has several people on staff who speak at least one other language besides English. Because whenever a community has a special need, our goal is to see that it's met. At the Scotiabank, just around the corner.
Scotiabank, just around the corner, right around the world. Scotiabank.
Paul Holmgren, a much-discussed figure leading into this hockey game with his injury, is playing. He's now off for high sticking. There were a couple of cases down there, Gary. First off, Linsman on Smith. That was not called. Then as the play swung around, Holmgren was called, and the Islanders have a power play chance.
So Philadelphia, short-handed. Here are the Islanders who've been so successful on the power play in this series. Daly clearing one to Leach. Leach and Clark into the Islander zone. Here's Leach around Pearson. Hit the side of the net. Trottier, number 19 for New York. To number 5, Potvin. Dennis Potvin leads a 4-man rush. Dumps it in. Trottier and Leach to the corner after it. Now back to Pearson at the point, over to Dennis Potvin. Potvin, wrist shot, and Peters a stick save, and he grabbed it and held on before Bossy could get to the rebound.
Gary mentioned the success they've had on the power play. I mean, the New York team, what have they been doing differently the last few games?
Well, if you remember against the Buffalo Sabres, the Islanders were just not getting their shots through from the point. In this series, of course, with Potvin and Pearson there, the good puck movement has resulted in those good shots getting through, and they're certainly taking advantage of it. That has been the key of this series, is the ability to move that puck around.
11 power play goals for the Islanders, only 4 for Philadelphia in this series. Islanders with the man advantage now. Potvin to Gillies, centering one over to the other wing to Bossy. Clark poked it away from him, but Trottier has it. Daly tied him up. Now Bossy. Back to Pearson. Step on Pearson to Potvin. And a stick save by Peters. And now an interference coming up against the Islanders, and I believe Clark Gillies.
Happened right in front of the Philadelphia net. So they'll play 5-a-side.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
All right, where's that hot shot? Claims he can fix a tailpipe in 3 minutes flat.
That'd be Jesse, but he just worked a double shift.
He's off duty, Moose. Hey, hot shot. Let's see how fast you fix a tough muffler problem. On your feet, String Bean. I'm talking to you. What's that?
Your Midas muffler guarantee, Moose. Job's done.
Fixed his wagon good.
When the penalty was called on Clark Gillies for interference, he kind of gave Wally Harris the laughing routine, Gary. Doesn't that usually mean that, oh, come on, you're evening up?
Well, I wouldn't want to comment on that.
There's a shot by Howard for New York, wide of the net. Each team a man short. Butch Goring drops it to Morrow, shoots one, and that's blocked in front of the net by Busnick. Clark for Philadelphia to Leach. Leaves it for Busnick. He's checked at center by Morrow. Now Busnick tries again, and again Morrow tied him up. Number 21 is Butch Goring, a former Los Angeles King. To Lane, intercepted by Al Hill, number 15 for Philadelphia. Morrow checked him, and here's Goring. Lead pass to Howard, too far, and Busnick for Philadelphia. To Jimmy Watson, number 20. And center for Hill, broken up by Lane. Here's Howard. In against Ben Wilson. Drops it to Henning. Shoots one wide on the short side by a couple of feet. Barber for Philadelphia. In with Hill. Trying to go around Lorimer. Now the Flyers. Holmgren is on, so they have the man advantage. 50 seconds left in the Islander penalty. Here's Henning. Gets it into the Philadelphia zone. McLeish for the Flyers. He's number 19. To Holmgren, but Henning is there to break it up and clear it away. Peters handles the puck and passes to Lindstrom, number 14. Kenny Lindstrom to Ben Wilson. Warren breaks it up for New York and cleared it away. 23 seconds left in the penalty to Gillies. Peters leaving it for Barber. To Lindstrom. Lindstrom trying to get up to Holmgren, and Henning intercepts it again. The Islanders clear it away. Now just 7 seconds left in Gillies' penalty. The veteran DuPont for Philadelphia. Penalized player Gillies is back on. There you see him, and here's DuPont getting it into the Islanders zone. Langerman shot it to Lorimer. Now as Leach comes up with the puck, the play is called on a delayed offside at the Islander blue line. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Smooth on the extra hard shine of Turtle Extra Car Wax. There's a lot more than sunshine and raindrops out there. But you're safe inside the extra hard shell. between your car's finish and a gritty, tough world, you've got the protection of polymers, the durability of silicones, all the extras of Turtle Extra Car Wax. Probably more protection than you'll ever need.
We've had another standing ovation of sorts here at the Spectrum when they flashed the word in the big screen that Eric Heiden, winner of 5 gold medals at the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, is a special guest here at the hockey game. I'm Dick Irvin, along with Gary Dornhofer and Dan Kelly, Jim Robson, Dave Hodge, and this is Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals as the Islanders look for the victory that will win them the Stanley Cup.
14:07 left in the first period. It is scoreless. Number 20 is Watson for Philadelphia. Fires one in the Islander zone, and he fired it up over the glass in the faceoff on the outside of the blue line as we look at Bob Kelly.
Gary, you're saying the other day that Kelly is more effective when he is spotted as opposed to playing as a regular.
Well, that's the way Fred Shiro, when he was here, and Pat Quinn, they used him. When things get at a standstill, who do they send out but Bob Kelly? And that is his most effective role. I mean, you should see some of the stunts he pulls out there, buzzes around, and the important thing is not only for the opposition to watch out for Bob Kelly, but also his home team. He runs into anybody that comes into possession of that puck.
Got a little Eddie Shack in him, huh?
That's right.
Here is Watson clearing it to Bobby Clark, and the play is offside at the Islander blue line. The Flyers have Kelly on left wing, Clark at center, and Leach on the right side.
You know, with this hockey club, everybody has a role to fill. That's Kelly's role. Bobby Clark, of course, as he's always been, is the real heart of this hockey club, and makes guys like Leach and Barber so effective with those good scoring chances on his good plays.
Here are the Islanders. Merrick with a neat pass to Nystrom, trying to go around Watson, who breaks it up. Now Watson and Nystrom tie one another up on the boards, and here's Clark. Number 16, Bobby Clark. Trying to make a play into the corner for Busnick, but Dennis Potvin intercepts to Lorimer, number 4. Now to Merrick. Merrick with a long shot off Busnick. Peters cleared it. Busnick in the corner for Philadelphia. Round on the boards to Watson, to Kelly. Headmanning it to Leach, and Lorimer is there to break it up for New York and fire it to center. Now it's Bridgman. Dropping it to Ben Wilson. Wilson and Potvin jam up on the boards. Here's Bridgman to the corner. Drops it to Gorance. Tom Gorance behind the net to Bridgman. Centers one. Knocked down by Wilson. Can't get a shot away. Ben Wilson still with the puck. Lets the shot go wide by 2 or 3 feet. Lorimer to Tonelli. Oh, Hill gets a piece of him, but Tonelli cleared it to center. Wilson for Philadelphia to Gorance to Bridgman. Bridgman to Gorance, and a shot is blocked up the defense by Langevin. Wayne Sutter for the Islanders, number 12. Trying to set up Goring, but Hill is there to break it up for Philadelphia. And Pearson tied him up and put him out of the play. Sutter dropping it back to Langevin. To Gillies. Gillies handed by Daly. Here's Hill trying to get it. Now Sutter to Goring. One man back. And it's Bridgman. And Bridgman breaks the play up. A forward, the only man back, broke it up. And it's dumped into the Islander zone. Pearson to Langevin. Langevin with a pass to Gillies. Into the Flyer zone it comes. Dupont trying to clear it. Got it outside the line, taken by Prop to Lynchman. And they rule it had been hit by a high stick, and the faceoff will be at the Flyer blue line.
No score, 11:45 left in the first period, and there is Eric Heiden, sitting in what is known here at the Spectrum as the Super Box, along with Flyers president and principal owner Ed Snyder. He's going to play hockey next year in Europe, I believe. He's with Art Kaminsky as agent at this hockey game tonight. Obviously cheering for the Flyers, considering where his seat is. He better be.
Here's Dupont for Philadelphia, clearing it to center. Lane shoots it right back in. Dupont and Daly on defense, and they clear it to Holmgren. It's Holmgren, Linsman, and Prop up front. Islanders in there forechecking, but Daly gets back to help up. To Linsman. To Paul Holmgren. Trying to go around Lane. Slides it in for Prop. Morrow took him out of the play, and Bourne gets it to Trotze, back to Lane. Now to Bossy. Trying to set up more. Here are the Flyers. Holmgren. Giving it to Dupont. Dupont is checked in. Here's Trottier to Bossy. Around Daly, but Daly knocked it off his stick. Trottier to forward lane. Lane number 24 into Trottier. Back at center ice, Holmgren and Lane are separated by the linesman. We're going to have penalties, I believe, to those two, but the two linesmen had to get between them as well. With the score, Philadelphia nothing, the New York Islanders nothing. This is Stanley Cup 80.
Capri Fever is here.
Catch it.
Don't let Capri Value pass you by.
Catch it with bucket seats, 4 on the floor, rack and pinion steering, and full instrumentation.
Inside, that's where Capri Fever really strikes.
Capri has the best fuel rating for North American-built 6-cylinder cars in its class.
So you can have fun and save gas, too. Capri Fever. 3 ways to catch it.
At the sign of the cat.
Paul Holmgren in the penalty box for the second time in this first period, but Gord Lane of the Islanders is in there with them. They have both been penalized for slashing.
Well, it looked like that could have been called a elbowing penalty on Paul Holmgren.
Let me ask you something. You know the first case we did with the prejudice
with the Indian young man.
Never happened to you?
Yeah, I've had a couple of incidents all my life, of course. Yeah, something happened recently. Didn't know how to handle it. I was in.
But he's certainly going to make contact. That's one of the reasons he's out there. And again, you know, the other day when I talked to him, he had a cast on his leg. I believe tonight he's out there playing.
Minor penalties to those two. We're down to 10:57 left in the first period. Flyers nothing, Philadelphia nothing. Shots on goal favoring the Islanders 4-3 to this point.
Dan, you know, the 3 shots as we look at Holmgren's injured knee. The Flyers had those 3 shots in about the first minute and a half of the hockey game, and they haven't had any for the next 7.5 or 8 minutes or so.
And all 3 were very good scoring chances.
Every one of them. But you notice lately that the giveaways that the Flyers have committed in the Islanders zone, and the Islanders are so cool when they get that puck. They work so well between the 2 defensemen back and forth until they find that open winger.
Speaking of cool customers, there's one, Bobby Clark, on a face-off with Goring. Each team a man short, scoreless game. Potvin, number 5 for the Islanders. He's the New York captain, clearing it to the Flyer line, and Jimmy Watson comes back for Philadelphia. Watson trying to work around Lorimer. Into the corner for Clark. Clark back to the point to Busnick. Gillies tied him up, but Potvin couldn't clear it as Clark held it in, and then Clark dropped it back, and it came to center ice. Leach to Clark. Clark waits for Busnick. Here's Clark over onto the other wing for Watson. He flipped it in behind the net, and Dennis Potvin for Goring, who gets away from Leach. Goring into the Philadelphia zone. He's tied up and checked by Busnick, and Leach gets the loose puck. Leaves for Dupont. To Leach, he was going the other way, and that allows Lorimer to give it to Goring. Goring around Dupont, has Nystrom on his left. The pass to Nystrom. Couldn't get the shot away as Bridgman tied him up. And Bridgman gives it to Dupont. Dupont over to Bridgman. Bridgman shoots, and he fired it wide. Wide by several feet, and Nystrom comes back toward the Islanders. Nystrom bumped by Bridgman. And bumped by Daly. On the boards, Persson for Nystrom in the corner. Here's Merrick. Out in front to Nystrom. Broken up by Bridgman, but a penalty coming up here as Merrick and Daly were tied up. Back on the net.
Now Ducon's going to get the gate. He was holding on to Nystrom as he cut in front of the net.
Stanley Cup 80 will continue in just a moment.
You gotta have heart. You gotta have heart. Miles and miles and miles of heart. Miles of heart. If you're gonna brew a beer with great taste, there's only one place to start. Molson Light has got heart. It's got heart. Molson Light has got heart.
Join the movement to light.
penalty to Andre Dupont of the Flyers in this scoreless first period comes with 23 seconds remaining in the penalties to Holmgren and Lane. As Gary pointed out, he put the grab on Bob Nystrom in front of the Philadelphia net, so the Islanders skate 5 against 4 right here.
Dupont and Holmgren in the penalty box for Philadelphia. Dupont, by the way, tonight playing in his 118th Stanley Cup game. He's the most experienced Stanley Cup performer on either team in this series. 4 against 3 power play chance here for the Islanders, but 23 seconds only remaining in the first penalties to Lane and to Holmgren. Now it's Daly. Trying to clear it. Trottier knocked it down. Islanders in the scoreless game with the man advantage. Persson. There's Bossy. Shoots. Peters the save. Didn't know where it went, but it's clear. Persson. Slap shot. Scores! Stefan Persson.
Now again, the Islanders take advantage, Gary, of all of the ice you get when you have that situation. That's their 6th straight shot since the Flyers had the first 3 of the game.
Jimmy Watson had control of the puck, and he was very weak on his clearing attempt. You notice Pearson trying to get the puck over to Potvin. He was covered, so he just moved in and let it go. Now, that's quite a distance to be able to score from. Maybe not. He shot it from the top of the circle, but it caught the far corner and passed Pete Peters. Power plays keep mounting up.
The 12th power play goal of the series by the Islanders.
Well, there's a good example, Dan, where Potvin was out there, and he demands such respect, and that give Pearson a little more room.
It was a 4 against 3 power play. Now the other penalized players are back on. Here's Bossy around Dupont, centering one. Bridgman couldn't clear it. Bossy again, knocked down by Dupont. Bridgman trying to get it out. Loose in the slot area. Here's Bridgman again for Philadelphia. Firing it out on the boards to Hill. Number 15, Al Hill. Around Langevin. Hill centers one. Lorimer knocked it down. And Tonelli has it for the Islanders. Bumped by Bridgman. Then tied up by Hill. And they double team the Islander forward John Tonelli and pin him against the boards for a faceoff. Now we get some pushing and shoving.
Well, the Flyers can do all the bumping and pushing and shoving they want, but Gary, unless they start shooting the puck on Billy Smith, they have gone a long time without testing the New York goaltender.
Well, early in the hockey game, those 3 chances happened in the first couple minutes of play. Since then, the Flyers forechecking and pressure has been non-existent. But the Islanders are doing a great job to just stay up on that blue line, force the Flyers to shoot it in. And I like that play where the forwards just interfere just slightly to give the defense a chance to get a hold of that thing.
Flyer captain Mel Bridgman. The scoring play for the Islanders, a power play. Stefan Persson from Bossy at 10:58. There it is again.
Well, I still think that probably Peters could have been out a little further on that one. He's only at the top of his crease. But anytime you catch that corner, you deserve it. But Potvin, Clarkey just gave him a little bit more respect, give Pearson a lot of time to unload it.
1-0 for the Islanders as Prop jammed up on the boards with Lorimer. And then Nystrom cleared to center for New York. Here's Busnick to Holmgren. Now to Lindsman. He weaved his way back outside the line, has to backtrack and drop it back to his defenseman, Busnick. Busnick for Watson. Rink wide to Lindsman. Langevin beats him to it for the Islanders. Here's Busnick again. Merrick knocked it down. Now Merrick and Holmgren hold it against the boards.
In the 1970s, Stanley Cup winning teams clinched the championship away from home 7 times in 10 years. Well, the Islanders have a foot up on the continuation of that trend, and this is the first final of the 1980s.
7:47 left in the first period. Power play goal by Persson to give the Islanders a 1-0 lead. Here's Busnick for Philadelphia. Slides it into the Islanders zone. Morrow is there to Nystrom. Held in by Watson, who pinched in from the point. Now Morrow to Nystrom. Trying to set up Merrick. It comes to the Philadelphia line, and that's Mike Busnick to Watson. Now to Prop. Drops it to Watson. Ahead to Lindsman. Trying to set up Watson, but Lane for New York intercepts. Now Tonelli to Nystrom. Tipped away by Prop and up over the glass and out of play. Live from the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Coming up in the first intermission, I'll talk with the playoff scoring leader, Brian Trottier of the New York Islanders. We'll have a film feature on the minor officials, the goal judges, timekeepers, etc. And from the coach's corner, Don Cherry, recently unemployed in Colorado.
Bob Kelly out on right wing. He's playing in his 100th Stanley Cup playoff game tonight. McLeish at center, Bridgman on left wing. It's cleared in by the Islanders. Ben Wilson is back to get it. Wilson played it off the boards. Kelly being tied up by Gillies. Now it is McLeish. Lost it to Gillies, and his shot went just wide. Big giveaway by McLeish, and Gillies blasted it wide. Here's Kelly and Gillies in the corner. Now Bridgman. Fired one to center. Langevin shoots it right back in for the Islanders. Ben Wilson for Philadelphia. Clearing one quickly to center. Here's the man who scored the only goal, Persson. To Butch Goring. Back to Persson. Headmanning it in for Sutter, who skated off by DuPont. Now Persson for the Islanders. To Langevin. He dumps it in. And the play is offside at the Philadelphia blue line.
An official feature on the minor officials coming up in our first intermission. As usual at playoff time, the people working the games from neutral cities, and tonight the gentlemen from Toronto are in charge of the off-ice duties, the very important off-ice duties.
Rossi out on right wing. Trottier at center, and Howitt, the left winger, on that line at this point. Here is Clark for Philadelphia. He's out with Barber and Leach. Loose puck picked up by Howitt. One-on-one against DuPont. And a quick wrist shot steered aside by Peters with his right arm. Leach for Philadelphia. Couldn't clear it. Leach gets it again, and again couldn't get it out. Here's Trottier to Howitt. Howitt tied up by Daly, who blocked his shot. Now Trottier, centering pass, a shot by Potvin, a big save by Peters. Oh, Potvin's shot was right on target. And it's cleared by the Flyers. Lorimer for New York. To Dennis Potvin. Now to Howitt to Trottier. He dumps it in. Bossy and DuPont go after it, and DuPont knocked Bossy down. Bossy gets the puck anyway. And Potvin, who had his shot partially blocked. And here's Barber to Clark. Clark played it over onto an open wing, and Merrick comes back for the Islanders. He dumped it in. Here's Nystrom in after it, but Watson beats him to it. Jimmy Watson for Linsman. Tried to set up Holmgren. Holmgren knocks it. Prop shooting it back in. Morrow for the Islanders to Nystrom. To Merrick. There's Merrick trying to get away from Prop. Shoots Peters to his knees to stop Merrick, who moved in on right wing. And Busnick gets it, and now play is called. And a penalty coming up against Philadelphia. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
If the Flyers win this game, Game 6 will be played at the Nassau Coliseum, the Islanders' home arena, Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The Flyers hoping to force it, of course. Game 6, if necessary, Saturday afternoon at 2.
That's Brian Prop in the penalty box, a slashing penalty at 15:24.
Well, the Islanders have been very effective. There's Merrick cutting in. There's the slash coming up. Merrick did show a good burst of speed cutting in towards the net. And again, the Islanders with that devastating power play of theirs. And right now they are just controlling the game. all the Flyers are doing right now, Dan, is just chasing. That's a frustrating feeling to be in.
Power plays have been the difference. 12 for the Islanders in this series, only 4 for the Flyers. And the only goal tonight on a power play, and the Islanders have the man advantage again. Persson to Potvin, to Goring, to Gillies. Shoots one, and a pad save by Peters on a knee-high blast. Held onto it.
Well, there was a good example. You talk about a player that you need to get the puck out of your own zone. Dennis Potvin, one good pass, and the line broke free. 3 of them going together, got the good shot on net. That's what it takes.
Potvin, Persson are the point men. Goring at center, Gillies on the right side, Nystrom on the left side. Comes to Gillies, to Dennis Potvin. To Persson. To Nystrom. DuPont tied him up. Peters out to clear it, but Persson is there to hold it in. Flips one and flipped it up over the glass. Another play.
Now it's 10 shots for the Islanders to 3 for the Flyers. 10 straight for the New York team. One of them being the shot by Stefan Persson earlier in the period on the previous power play chance that beat Pete Peters and has given the Islanders the 1-0 lead. Mentioning how people asked a lot during the course of the season what's wrong with the Islanders as Brian Propp sits out a minute 28 left in his penalty. They had the biggest drop in points, if you kind of call it the old 17, from one last season to this past one. I don't have to remind Dan Kelly which team had the best improvement. St. Louis Blues.
From St. Louis, right? 32 points.
Plus 32. Islanders are minus 25.
Here's Barber flipping one down into the Islanders zone. A minute 20 left in that penalty to Propp. Here's Persson. Waiting a 4-man rush to center to Bourne. Bourne dumps it in. DuPont is there to clear it, and it goes up over the glass. And went off an Islanders, so the face-off will be outside the blue line.
Gary, you've talked a lot about the speed, the skating, the way that the Flyers have not been able to take away the skating game from New York. There's a good reason right there. Tremendous acceleration. Boy, can he, Bob Bourne.
You know, when you have him out there, Dick, what it also means is you have to be very aware every time he's out there, even cutting into the center of the 2 defensemen. You know, that long pass from your own zone, something that the Canadians have done for so many years, and that breakaway play. Bourne becomes so effective in that situation.
There's Persson poking a puck over onto the boards, and Watson shoots it away for Philadelphia. Less than a minute now in the Flyer penalty. Persson into the center ice area to Bourne to Trottier. Lustig skates him off, and Clark gets the puck. Clark to Watson. He was checked in the play by Potvin, moved in from the point. Couldn't get a shot away, and Busnet headmans it to Clark. Now to Watson. Has Leach open, and the pass just out of his reach. Potvin, check Leach. Islanders still on the power play. 27 seconds left in Propp's penalty. Bourne. Over on the wing for Trottier, around Wilson. Trottier drops it to Persson. Persson centers to Trottier, now to Bossy, to Morrow. Over to Tonelli, and he blasted wide on the short side. Missed by about a foot. Here's Bossy. Shoots high off the glass. McElhargy trying to clear it. Propp is back on. Islanders holding in. Morrow to Trottier. Centering one, and Propp breaks it up and clears to Linsman. Linsman moving in, shoots it, a pad save on the short side by Smith, and he kicked it with his right leg up over the glass.
Well, Kenny Linsman has just had a shot on goal, and that's the first shot for the Flyers in approximately 16 and a half minutes.
Well, it certainly has been a long time coming, but Kenny Linsman shows his speed. You notice how the defense back up. I would too with him out there. There's the good shot that Billy Smith just throws that pad out and deflects it in the corner.
Well, they call Linsman the Rat down here, affectionately. And there she is again with the mascot. Did you see Trottier hit Clark there a minute ago? Boy, Trottier is a solid citizen when it skates.
Well, that's something that the Islanders have been doing to Clark, is every chance they get, give him a little bump. You know, they know how important he is when he's controlling that play, and if they can bump him every opportunity, just slow him down a little bit, that takes the effectiveness away from a Leach and a Barber. As Clark usually gets it to those two guys.
Linsman, Kropp, and Holmgren for the Flyers. Linsman getting the draw. Watson and Morrow battle for it, and it's cleared to Nystrom. Nystrom dumps it in. Wilson for Philadelphia. Tried to clear it and did clear it outside the line, and Lane carried back in offside.
Ben Wilson. And DeFancy and Bob Nystrom there a minute ago. And Nystrom, who has been a good playoff performer this year, and the Islanders, Gary, it's been almost total domination this first period.
Well, that's what that puck control does. And, you know, the Islanders don't get flustered when the Flyers put on pressure, but so far the Flyers haven't put on any pressure.
Here's Watson getting it into the Islanders zone. Nystrom is there to clear it. Wilson for Philadelphia. A minute 50 left in the first period. Linsman trying to get it to Kropp. Finally did. Kropp back to Linsman just out of his reach. Morrow and Linsman to the corner. Morrow wins that battle back of the net. To Tonelli, but Wilson hammered him. Now Morrow cleared it. And Gord Lane gets away from Kropp. Kropp got a piece of him, but Lane was able to clear the puck, and then Nystrom shot at the center. Here's Kropp for Philadelphia. Lane tied him up. Kropp shot it in, and Morrow has it for New York. Over on the wing to Tonelli to Nystrom. DuPont knocks it down. In on right wing for Gorans in the play. Offside at the Islander blue line. A minute 10 left in the first period. 1-0. Islanders lead.
Another of the much discussed figures in this final round, Ken Morrow, who joined the Islanders after taking part in the Olympics in Lake Placid, and like Eric Heiden, winning a gold medal. 1, not 5. But it was the big one, and now he stands a chance to make it 2. I don't think that's ever happened before. Connie Broden played for a World Championship team for Canada and then played for the Canadians later on a Stanley Cup team. I think that's about the only comparable thing in recent times.
Ken Morrow will not forget 1980 if the Islanders go on to win this series. Here's Lorimer with less than a minute to play in the period. Flips one to center. Daly knocked it down to Hill, number 15. Al Hill shoots one. Smith, stick save, and Gillies cleared it. DuPont shot right on. A pad save by Smith. On a low shot right along the ice. Here's Gillies to Gorin. One man back. Gorin moving in the shot, and he missed by a couple of feet. And then took a hit from DuPont. Here's Bridgman with 25 seconds left. Lorimer tied him up. Bridgman centering one. Loose in the goal crease area. Goring cleared it away. DuPont hustles over to keep it in. Now Daly shoots. Blasted it wide by a couple of feet from close in. Islanders under pressure, cleared away. 6 seconds left in the period. DuPont to Leach. Handed it right to Bossy. And Bossy, as the buzzer goes to end the period, held on to the puck to let the final seconds wind down. Billy Smith with some early key saves. The Islanders eventually outshoot Philadelphia 10-6 and get a power play goal by Stefan Persson. As we see the Islanders head for their locker room. And so the score at the end of the first period, the New York Islanders 1, the Philadelphia Flyers 0.
Why don't we discuss it over a beer?
Beer. You gotta have heart. Miles and miles and miles of heart. If you're gonna brew a beer with great taste, there's only one place to start. Molson Light has got heart. Heart. You gotta have taste. You gotta have taste to put the smile upon your face. Smile on your face when people tell you light beer is in. That's when the grin should start. Molson Light has got. Molson Light has got. Molson Light has got heart. Heart. It's got heart. Molson Light has got heart.
Join the movement to light.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places.
You're confirmed in Montreal and Vancouver, and you're gonna love the ending.
Need our people-pleasing places.
Holiday Inn Hotel.
are #1 in the world, with the best locations near where you want to be.
I can walk.
The most popular choice of locations. We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 people pleaser.
Providing their share of the family income makes a lot of sense to a lot of women these days. And so does buying life insurance. Think about your future and talk it over with a Mutual Life of Canada agent.
Life is a mutual affair.
The Islanders have the only goal of the first period. It was scored by Stefan Persson on a power play, and that is the 12th Islander power play goal of this series, which ties a record for a best-of-7 Stanley Cup playoff series. The Islanders outshot the Flyers 10-6 and had those 10 shots in succession after the Flyers got 3 to open the period and then 3 to close it. I mentioned Stefan Persson's power play goal tying a record. Brian Trottier is 1 point away from tying a record for points in a playoff year. He is 26, and the record is shared by Phil Esposito and Frank Mahovlich at the moment at 27. Something tells me that's really not the most important thing on your mind right now.
Not right now, Dave. We've had some good scoring opportunities in that period, and we got to put them away because we know that 1 goal lead is nothing to a team like the Flyers that have good scoring power.
Brian, you've been into a dressing room with your teammates over 100 times this season, counting exhibition and regular season and now playoff games, and I would imagine there's a special feeling tonight because this game, of course, is unlike any other you've played.
Well, it's the closest I've ever been, and a lot of guys in that dressing room ever to win a championship, and it might be the closest we'll ever get again to having the opportunity to get the Stanley Cup, and we're going to make the best of it. You know, we're hungry, we're young, and we have good solid players that want to go out there and work for each other.
Does that make it a different dressing room in terms of more noise or less noise?
I don't know. People talk of youthful enthusiasm, and we like to kind of display that out on the ice, and it's pretty quiet in that dressing room, kind of the calm before the storm.
It would be fitting if you won the Stanley Cup on the road because of the way that you've arrived here with the great success on the road in Buffalo and in Boston, and a victory here earlier in the series in Philadelphia. Does that mean that there's nothing about trying to win it and perhaps eventually winning it in Philadelphia that's going to bother you now?
Well, the way we look at it, Dave, is if the Flyers get 1 victory, it could give them some momentum and some confidence, and we want to keep it. We don't get paid any more money for playing any extra games, so we want to go out there and win it as fast as possible, as well as take away any advantage that we might be giving Philly. So whether we do it on our home ice or on Philadelphia's ice really doesn't make a big difference. You know, we've got good fan support in New York, and we know that they're back there rooting for us now.
I've heard a lot of things about the Islanders, a lot of explanations as to why you've done so well, and the one thing that seems to come through is that you were very well prepared to play every game for every circumstance. Could you perhaps capsulize that into what Al Arbour does, how he does it to get you to the point where you go out on the ice, you know exactly what you want to do and proceed to do it?
Well, I think Al has to give a lot of credit to his assistant, Billy McMillan. The two of them, they work pretty hard on watching films, coming up and instructing individuals as to positional play and doing different things in different situations. We worked really hard on our draws this year, but it's one area that we've really concentrated on throughout the year. And we've gotten the desire from the hockey players. You know, there's some talk that, you know, some teams lose their hungriness, you know, when they get deflated as many times as we have in the last few years. But the players stayed hungry, and their desire to win remained strong. But the preparation that Al and Billy, as well as I know Bill Torrey, you know, chipped in as much as he possibly could. But their doors were always open whenever we had a problem off the ice, and that makes it a little easier as well.
Thank you very much, Brian Trottier. Congratulations on everything that's happened so far, and good luck for the rest of the season, however long it may last. Stanley Cup 80 continues in just a moment.
Canadian Tire has the tires you need. Radial tires, snow tires, off-road tires, small tires, truck tires, tractor tires. We made our name selling quality tires at sensible prices, backed by our 5-year road hazard warranty. We can fit just about every kind of car or truck with the right tire at the right price.
We can do it. It's for
It's here, now, from Everready, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s. To drive, to power, to energize the new world around you. A remarkable world of electronic devices. A world that needs all the energy of the Energizer. Energy source of the 80s. Look, when ordinary carbon batteries are dead and gone, the Energizer lives on. In toys like this, the C-size Energizer runs 790% as long as ordinary batteries. 790%. For this new electronic world, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s, from Everready.
The Energizer, energize for life.
Longer. Take a close look.
Ford. Coming or going, it's the right idea for today. Ford Fairmont. Take a test drive at your Ford dealer.
Islanders won, Philadelphia nothing after one period, but you heard Brian Trottier say that one goal will not be enough, and the Islanders wish they had capitalized on more opportunities in that first period. The minor officials working tonight's game are from Toronto, and in this film feature we find out more about them and the functions they perform. Everybody sees the referee and the two linesmen of the game, but not everybody realizes these on-ice officials are backed up by 5 off-ice officials. Let's meet them now and find out their responsibility.
My name is Joe Lamantia. I'm the game timekeeper. I start and stop the clock with the referee's whistle. All I'm interested in while the game is going on is the referee and the puck. It's the only two things I'm concerned with. Once I lose track of the referee or the puck, I'm in big trouble. At no time can I lose my concentration. It's a full 60 minutes of concentration. In other words, I can't afford to fall asleep at the switch.
Joe Lamantia also keeps a stopwatch going as a backup in case the big clock breaks down.
My name is Red Hewitt. I'm the penalty timekeeper for tonight's game. My job is to keep track of the players when they come off the ice with the penalties, and make sure they go back on the proper time. The penalty clocks are coordinated with the big clock. When the big clock starts, the penalty clock starts, and vice versa.
What about some of those heated arguments in the penalty box after two players come off for fighting?
The odd time they'll argue back and forth for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but then they finally quieten down. Sometimes they're going to cut each other's head off when they go back on the ice, but they normally just skate apart.
My name is Alf Jones, and I'm a goal judge. I see it a lot different than fans sitting up in the gray seats or red seats. And I think that you have to really be down there behind the net to be able to call the puck.
My name is Eddie Meppin, and I'm also a goal judge. The job of goal judge is to put the light on if the puck goes in the net. It has to be in the net, or if it's along the line, that doesn't count.
It must go over the line of 100% or it is not a goal. If there's ever a dispute, you'll see the referee will come over and I'll tell him what happened, but the final decision is always made by the referee.
Sometimes your view is blocked and you can't be sure, but if you don't see it, you don't call it. I concentrate on the puck the whole time the game is on, no matter if it's at the other end even. You've got to anticipate what plays will take place and be ready for it.
My name is Joe Sadler. I'm the official scorer.
And Joe Sadler is the only off-ice official who is not down at ice level. He's up top, close by Danny Gallivan and Dick Irvin, where he has a good overall view of the play.
On the sheet, it shows the goal scorer and the assist, or 2 assists as it's called, the time the goal is scored, and the number of players on both teams at the time the goal is scored. If somebody comes up and asks us for a goal, we won't change it at that time. We'll look at the replay of it, and if it is justified then, the goal would be changed. These times are actually very, very few and far between.
Scotty Morrison and Brian O'Neill, the men who supervise the NHL's on-ice and off-ice officials. the game timekeeper, the penalty timekeeper, the 2 goal judges, and the scorer. 5 off-ice officials playing important roles at every National Hockey League game. 1-0 is the score in favor of the New York Islanders at the end of 1 period of play, and we will return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
Tinker, tailor, soldier, poor man, and beggar man. Rotten apple, Jim.
One of the top 5 in British intelligence is a Soviet spy.
You boys are going to need a whole new organization.
Right? Sir Alec Guinness stars in the exciting series based on the bestseller Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Sunday night at 9 on CBC.
Quaker State helps cars last.
It's true. If you look after your equipment, it's going to last. That's why we use Quaker State motor oil on our farm. In our equipment, trucks, in my snowmobile, in our 4-wheel drive, winter and summer. We take care of our equipment with a lot of help from Quaker State. It's the best-selling motor oil in North America. Quaker State says their motor oil helps cars last. And I think they're right.
Major League Baseball 1980. The action of the National and American Leagues on CBC. The Expos of Montreal in the National. The Blue Jays of Toronto in the American. Catch all the plays, the replays, and the expert commentary here on CBC.
Wednesday night, the Toronto Blue Jays meet the Red Sox at Fenway Park in Boston, 7:30, 8:30 Atlantic, and 9 in Newfoundland.
To brew a great light beer?
Join the movement to light.
Don Cherry began these playoffs as coach of the Colorado Rockies on loan to television for Stanley Cup 80, and now from his coach's corner, he looks for work in the NHL, which he is certain he will find. And before severing ties in Denver, he talked of dumb penalties.
Still love that jacket. Velvet, black brushed velvet. It's a beauty. Nice outfit, too. But you know, tonight on Coach's Corner, we're going to talk about dummy penalties. Dummy penalties kill you. They drive me white. Other coaches, they drive to ulcers and some to drink. But we're going to show you a necessary penalty. Sometimes we call it a good penalty on Maxwell in Minnesota. Now watch Houle going down there. He's got a step on him. He knows he's going to get a good shot. He pulls him down. You know, that's what you call a good one. I don't like to say good, but we do say good. Let's see it at another angle now. See, he's got the step on him. We call that a good one. You know, you don't like to say it to kids it's good, but it is a good one. Now, they got 16 seconds into the power play. Canadians are set up. Let's watch Steve Shutt do a dummy now. He's got it. There's no problem at all. They're passing around nice. Nice control. Far over the side. Robinson's setting it up back here. Now watch Shutt now. For some reason, he goes in, 16 seconds, cross-checks the guy, knocks him down. They're usually pretty disciplined. They don't do that. I don't understand it. Referee is standing there. I think they call it offensive interference or something. Shake your head, Steve. It was a dummy. It was. Let's see him shake it again. Off you go. A good hockey player, but a dummy. But they have other penalties, too, you know, retaliatory. Is that how you say that? Retaliatory penalties. They have ones tripping a guy in his own end when he's got lots of guys back. There's numerous ones, but I'm going to show you the dummy penalty of all time. Now let's set it up. It's 4-3 for Boston, the 7th game of the semifinals. I think everybody remembers this. There's Bobby Miller, that's 1. There's the right winger, that's 2. There's the left winger, that's 3. There's the 2 defensemen. Uh-oh. There's the sixth guy. I guess that's the Rover. He must have pulled our goalie. No, I'm afraid it is, and we're dead. And, you know, there I am back of the bench. There's my son back of the bench. He's got tears running down. I look pretty white, I'll tell you that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just saw the dummy penalty of all time. I feel it cost us the Stanley Cup, and that's it from Coach's Corner. Not too smart a coach, but Coach's Corner.
If this series goes to a 6-game Saturday afternoon at the Nassau Coliseum, Don Cherry will be live in the Coach's Corner to talk, I'm sure not about dumb penalties, but about his own situation following his dismissal in Denver. Now let's go to Dan Kelly, Dick Irvin, and Gary Dornhoff.
All right, Dave, teams on the ice getting set for the second period. And the New York Islanders have the 1-0 lead, and power play goals again. A big story in this series as the Islanders have totally dominated play. You see the statistics there. Their 12th power play goal in this series. It came at 10:58 with Stefan Persson scoring from Mike Bossy. That was a combination that scored a very important power play goal for the Islanders in Game 1 that sent the game into overtime, and they won it on Denny Potvin's goal. You see the shots on goal. The Islanders had the edge 10-6 at one point 10-3. But the Flyers finished with a flourish, Gary Dornhofer, in the last couple of minutes. They may have drawn some hope after being almost totally dominated through the first period.
Well, the Flyers had 3 chances right off the bat. Every one excellent scoring chances, and then they finished off with 3. So of the 6 shots, Billy Smith had to be exceptionally sharp to keep the Flyers off the score chart. But they have to get some more shots here, more penetration.
1-0. Islanders leading as the second period gets underway, and Lorimer slides it down into the Flyer zone. Bob Daly back to get it. Over to Gorence, now to Richmond. He's checked by Potvin. Here's Bourne. Daly takes him out of the play, and DuPont cleared it. Over to Hill. Lorimer pinches in. Gets it to Bourne. Shot it wide on the short side. Potvin shoots. Peters a save on a tough shot by Potvin. Now Bourne getting it back in. Here's DuPont to Daly. Up the middle, Bridgman couldn't handle it, but now it's stolen by Gorence. Drops it to Bridgman. Bridgman has to wait for Gorence to get back onside, then shot it right on to Bourne's stick. Bourne to Dennis Potvin. In on the right side to Bossy. Quick slap shot, and he missed by several feet. Goring for the Islanders, and the play is whistled down on an offside as Goring carried it into the Flyer zone.
Well, there's the magnificent young man known as a scoring machine. Mike Bossy, 3 seasons in the NHL, 173 goals, 53, 69, 51. Gary, I watched him on Showdown, and it was just amazing how he could pick the corners as Matt Pavlich, one of the NHL supervisory officials, looks on. Right, Matt?
Well, that's what we were discussing before. You know, in Showdown, he kept shooting the puck and scoring. He's had 3 breakaways, and he's trying to pull the goaltender each time.
It is Clark out there on a face-off with Goring. Now they're going to toss Clark out of there. Barber will take the face-off. Goring gets the draw to Lane. Lane backhanding it into the Philadelphia zone. That's Wilson. Gillies gives him chase. Now Clark to Barber. Into Leach. Leach trying to go around Lane. Shot and missed by 3 or 4 feet. Held in by Clark. Into the opposite corner. And Lane gets it to Gillies. Now to Gorence. Over onto the other wing. Wayne Sutter shooting. Peters gets his glove on it. And Clark quickly cleared to Barber. Barber to Leach. Drop pass to Wilson. Wilson to Clark. Scores! Bobby Clark has tied it at 1-1.
Funny thing about that play, Gary, the Islanders seem to have everybody pretty well covered except Parkey, who sneaked in.
Well, they're doing a good job. Gillies goes at Reggie Leach. There's another contact. Clark heads for the net. Now he doesn't waste any time. He was out far enough where Lane couldn't really get a piece of him. As soon as it hit his stick, he let the shot go, beat Smith in the corner, and ties it.
And an excellent pass by Ben Wilson.
But that's something that the Bobby Clark has been doing all these years from the Flyers. When you need a big goal or big effort, he comes up with it.
That ties it at 1-1. Scoring play, Clark from Wilson and Leach at 1:35. Here are the Flyers again, centering one, and Tonelli breaks it up and shot it to center. Jim Watson passing it to Holmgren. Paul Holmgren. Lead pass for Propp, broken up by Lorimer. Shot back in by Watson. Ball outside of the Islander blue line. From the Spectrum in Philadelphia, this is Stanley Cup 80.
Putting in more gas and putting out more money? Maybe your car needs a tune-up with fresh Champion spark plugs. They can improve fuel economy. It's like getting more gas in your tank and more money in your bank. Fill her up with fresh Champions.
Scoring play again. Bobby Clark, his 8th goal to the playoffs for Wilson and Leach at 1:35. Here of the second period. Here's Merrick for New York. Easy shot for Peters to handle, and he held on to it.
Well, will that give the Flyers the lift they've been looking for? Pete Peters tested early in this period, had a couple of shots that seemed to handcuff him, but they didn't go in the net. Clark goes back, ties the game. But you get the feeling the Flyers are really on the ropes in that first period, so we'll see what happens after the tie.
Let's look for the slot area. Clarkie comes from the right side and puts it home. But as you had mentioned, Dick, it looked like everybody was covered. That was not the case as Clark moved in to stuff it home.
Linsman against Merrick. Puck in behind the Flyer goal. Watson fanned on it. Now Tonelli there. Here's Tonelli to Neister moving. Kept by Holmgren and fanned on it, and it goes all the way into the Islander zone. Lorimer pulls away from Propp. Headmans to Merrick. Over to Tonelli. Shoots one high and into the crowd.
Well, Jimmy Watson, I'm sorry, is a real leader of this hockey club, and I'm sure that he has a lot of protection on that shoulder to cushion any blows that he may receive tonight. But he's been there before.
Gary mentioned once earlier in the first period how he made a poor clearing pass, but I wonder if he can really effectively use the stick and shoot it the way he would like to because of that cracked collarbone that he's been bothered with.
Faceoff was going to be just inside the line. Now Langevin a shot and a bad save by Peters on a tough shot to handle. Flyers can't clear it. Bossy then handed it right to Gorence, and here's Tom Gorence to Hill. He dumps it in. That's Langevin. That's away from Gorence. Pass behind Bourne goes all the way down the ice, and that will probably cost the Islanders an icing call if it does.
One fellow, Gary, who's caught my eye from a Flyers standpoint, number 22, Tom Gorence. Not much in the way of finesse, but in this series, he has worked awfully hard.
He certainly has. You know, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale authored The Power of Positive Thinking, and I think Pat is certainly a disciple of his as we look at Tom Gorence. Very positive man. There's the cut that he received.
Side of his face from an earlier game. He's a native of St. Paul, Minnesota. College jockey at the University of Minnesota. Face-off in the Islander zone. It just trickles wide. Here's Hill, center block. Bourne trying to clear. Failed. Bourne again tries. Held in by Daly. And the shot is blocked by Langevin, and then the Islanders' Bourne cleared it to center, but the play had been called back. They ruled it was batted ahead with a glove from one Islander to another.
You know, a lot of times, too, people think that every time a player makes a mistake, a coach has to tell him what he's doing wrong. Think the guys don't know when they make a mistake or play a bad game? They know, and that's why there's those get-togethers and the meetings after games or prior to games after practice where you get together and hash these things out.
Number 26, Langevin, leaving it for Trottier. Trottier being watched by Bridgman. Peels it off into the corner to Langevin. Bossy couldn't get it up. Flyers forecheck. Hill a shot at a stick save by Smith. Now Dupont. This shot is stopped and Bourne feeds Trottier. Trottier to Bossy. Bossy wrist shot. Peters kicks out his right leg to make the save. Langevin a shot. That's blocked, and here's Daly racing after it, but Persson back for New York. To Trottier. To Bossy. Bossy shoots one, and another bad save by Peters. Islanders Langevin shot hit Daly. Daly Daly racing after it. Daly gets to it. Shoots. Billy Smith a save, and Hill banned on the rebound, and back come the Islanders. Here's Bossy against McElhargy, and Peters a stick save, and Kelly cleared it away. Bob Kelly. Checked by Bossy. 1-1 the score. McElhargy trying to clear it. Oro couldn't hold it in, but Sutter is back for New York to Lane. Lane to Sutter to Gillis. Over to Goring. Goring leaves it for Sutter. Shoots! Bad save by Peters as he kicked out his right leg. Sutter to Goring. Daly back of the net. Goring trying to center. Cleared away. Daly again has the puck. Daly and Kelly trying to hold it there, and they can't, and now they squeeze Sutter in against the boards and do get a face-off. And the last couple of minutes has been the best hockey action in this final. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
When we say the new Lufkin 1-inch Ultralock stands up, we mean more than durability. More than Luff Coat protection. When we say the Lufkin 1-inch stands up, we mean it stands up. For more than 2 meters, more than 7 feet. The Lufkin 1-inch Ultralock from Cooper the Toolmaker. Win one of 3 Mercury Capris. Strike gold with Lufkin at your local hardware store.
Philadelphia goaltender Pete Peters has faced 8 shots in the first 4 minutes and 53 seconds of this second period. He has played excellent goal.
Right now, he's the reason that the Flyers are still at 1.
He's made 3 saves with that right leg of his, kicking it out in spectacular fashion. Here's Peters setting it up for Wilson to Hill. He played it off the boards the length of the ice. Lane going back for the Islanders, and as he touches it, icing against Philadelphia.
Shots on goal so far in the period, 8-3 in favor of the Islanders, 18-9 overall through the first 25 minutes and 7 seconds of the hockey game.
You know, Dick, looking at both goaltenders, they really play their angles well. They're stand-up goaltenders. They make the saves look easy. I think Billy Smith is a little more flamboyant than Pete Peters. Handled the stick so well and the glove. But, you know, with Smith, he really hasn't had the work tonight that Peters has.
Here's McLeish against Merrick. Face off to the left of the Flyer goal. Merrick gets the draw. Nystrom a shot. That one off Busnick, and Watson has it for Philadelphia. To Holmgren. Got it to center. Lorimer takes over there. To Potvin. Back to Lorimer. Manning it to Merrick, who deflects it in. Busnick for the Flyers. To Paul Holmgren. Now on center ice to Watson. Watson with a quick shot, and Billy Smith handles that. Steered it to the corner. McLeish for Philadelphia. Into Hill. Al Hill behind the net. Checked by Merrick. Wayne Merrick, number 11. Joe Ginelli. And that's broken up by Busnick. Potvin. Lost it for McLeish, who has a break. Scores! Rick McLeish stole it from Dennis Potvin. And the Flyers lead 2-1.
Now the Spectrum, they're going crazy. Gary, we've been waiting for Rick McLeish to, as the phrase goes, wake up. And he comes through right here.
Well, I don't know what Potvin was thinking of, throwing it blind in the center ice area. McLeish just picked it up. Something that he does so well is that wrist shot, a high one, up to the top corner. And suddenly the Flyers, even though being badly outplayed, have the lead.
He did a good job of getting the shot away against the checking of Merrick and the other defenseman, who that was. And at 5:55, the goal by McLeish sends that young, whatever that is, into a happy frame of mind. Look at that.
It's like the Gong Show.
Winners or losers?
Well, McLeish didn't ring the gong, but he put on the red light. His 8th goal of the playoffs.
Oh, that's real good,
unassisted at 5:55. 2-1 Flyers. Here come the Islanders back. Howard with a poke at it. Pearson at center. Now DuPont or Leach. He's checked. DuPont shoots it into the Islander zone. Langevin is there for Pearson. Back to Langevin. Passed it on the boards. Daly ties Howard up. They get it to Leach. Shooting. Smith to save. Oh, and Barber just failed to poke in the rebound. Back comes Bossy. Bumped by Daly, and Leach quickly cleared it for Philadelphia. Langevin to Pearson. Clark trying to steal it. He almost did. Trotche ahead to Bossy. 2-on-1 break. Bossy shot. Bossy had Howard in front of the net, elected to shoot, and Peters made the save. Clark for Philadelphia. Knocked down. Clark flat on the ice, trying to clear it and did. Pearson to Langevin. They played 7 minutes of the period as it's shot in by the Islanders. They called it an offside of the Philadelphia blue line. The fans holler. They thought the Islanders should have had a penalty. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
It takes calm, unhurried patience to brew Bradol, so take the time to appreciate it. Bradol from Molson. Take the time.
12 minutes, 59 seconds left in the second period. Flyers leading 2-1. It is Linsman, Holmgren, and Prop for Philadelphia. Islanders, Morrow in his own line. They have Goring, Gillies, and Sutter up front. Here is Lane getting it into the Philadelphia zone. McElhargy laid it off the boards. Prop hit the referee as he tried to clear it. Sutter for the Islanders to Lane. Lane, a drive, and he just missed with a low slap shot, and it goes all the way down into the Islander zone. That's Morrow. Prop into forecheck, comes up with the puck to Linsman. Kenny Linsman in front for Wilson. Shoots. Holmgren after the rebound. It's cleared away by the Islander defense. Another good chance for Philadelphia. They come in and forecheck and force some things out from the Islander zone.
Well, the Flyer fans now are getting the team revved up here. But it certainly started when Rick McLeish intercepted that pass. There's a wrist shot from just inside the right-hand circle and beat Smith in the top corner.
I think that Prop and Linsman were listening to your comments, Gary, right off the top of the show. The forechecking that was needed, that was the best example we've seen of it from a Philadelphia standpoint tonight, right there. Holmgren almost scored at the goal crease.
Like you always say, you know, you have to give an effort, but somehow, is there something that you can give just a little more? If it means getting in first in that corner to pick up that puck, or just putting your head down and getting back to pick up the trailer, all these things will eventually add up in a victory. If you're willing to do that, that's the big question.
Big face-off between Clark and Wayne Merrick. To the left of the Islander goal. Flyers lead 2-1. Merrick gets the draw to Potvin. To Lorimer. Now to Nystrom. He's checked in the play. Merrick comes over to help out. Leach jammed him in against the boards. And the Flyers are now playing their game. They're in there doing that forechecking that has really been the key to their success all season, Gary.
Still waiting for this guy to explode. Reggie Leach hasn't scored a goal in this series. If he ever gets his act together.
Leach is the left winger with... Now they have Leach poised back at the right point as they move the defenseman Busnick up. Clark gets the draw, but it comes the other way and came to center ice. Watson shooting it in, and he flipped it up over the glass. And the faceoff will be outside the Islander blue line.
Well, they come with all kinds of uniforms and hats and badges. I think this, I don't know what now, but the Flyers used to lead the league in souvenir stands. I think, Gary, the number they had and the kind of things they sold.
Here's Busnick getting it into the Islander zone. Potvin shot it down the ice. Watson back to touch it. There's Jimmy Watson Watson touches it. Icing called against New York.
Well, as Gary Dornhofer well remembers, the last time the Philadelphia Flyers were in a final series, they saw the other team win the cup right here at the Spectrum. In that case, Montreal in 1976. As we mentioned, Gary, that was the rule rather than the exception in the 70s. But that has to even add insult to injury, to use the cliche. And they don't want to have that happen here tonight, obviously.
Especially when you go 4 straight, too. There's anything worse than that.
Here's Clark against Merrick. 11:44 left in the second period. 2-1 Philadelphia. Merrick gets the draw. And here's Potvin for Bourne. Over on the right wing boards. Nystrom can't get it by Barber. They battle on the boards for it. Over comes Clark. Merrick checked him. Barber checked Merrick. Here's Clark with it again. And Merrick hooked it away to center ice. Flyers get it back to Clark. Here's Clark, works it into Barber, and Lorimer came over and checked him. Big defensive play by Lorimer. Potvin can't control it. Bourne is there to clear up the center. Here's Jimmy Watson, dumping it back in. Potvin for the Islanders. And the play is called, and the faceoff is going to come all the way back into the Philadelphia zone. With the score, Philadelphia 2, the New York Islanders 1. This is Stanley Cup 80.
It's for people like you, people who do what you want at Canadian Tire. Anything you want to.
Want to get a head start on summer? You can do it at Canadian Tire. Our wide selection of sporting goods at everyday low prices is a sure sign that the good weather is on its way.
It's for people like you, people who do Canadian Tire.
Now I turn the broadcast over to the very capable member of the Hockey Night in Canada Vancouver crew, Jim Robson. Go to it, James.
Thank you, Dan Kelly. An excellent tension-packed battle for the Stanley Cup here in Philadelphia, where the Flyers are leading 2-1. We played 9 minutes of the second period. Lots of great action left as Henning and Bridgman faced off in Flyer territory. Howitt with the puck, checked by Daly. The puck's by the post, and Peters looks around, but it's right by his right skate. And this big kid in the nets for Philadelphia looks so solid and steady all the time.
Well, at the beginning of this period, Jim, the way the Islanders stormed the Flyers, they couldn't beat Peters, and then came the 2 goals by McLeish and Clark. Reverse order, Clark and McLeish, and it's 2-1 Philadelphia, 53 seconds short of the halfway mark of regulation time.
Lorne Henning, as you look at Al Arbor pacing up and down back of the Islander bench, getting one of his rare shifts, getting this face-off in Flyer territory, and Gillies was upset heavily in the hard-hitting action. Battle for the puck on the boards. Henning got it back to the point to Langevin. It's deflected wide by Howitt, knocked down by McIlhargey, and Philadelphia get the puck out to center. Langevin after it there. There's going to be a penalty. I believe Stephen Pearson is going to get it. There's the interference indication by referee Wally Harris. And Stephen Pearson argues, but he will go to the penalty box. Stanley Cup 80 will continue in a moment.
I'm into having some fun, you see. Good times for you, you and me. Let's break away for the good times. Good times feeling free. Breaking away to Canadian. Breaking away to the good times.
Stefan Persson of the Islanders, who opened the scoring in this hockey game on a power play in the first period, now is in the penalty box as he interferes with Mel Bridgman in the center ice area. So the Flyers, who have come up 2 straight goals in this second period, now get their first power play opportunity of the period. First penalty called on either team.
Also a chance to give them a little breathing room.
That's the 3rd minor penalty of the game against the Islanders. The Flyers have had 4 minors. Of course, the New York goal came on a power play. Philadelphia leading 2-1. Play in Islander territory as Bourne cleared the puck to center ice. Now the Flyers will set up their power play. Number 3, who just passed it off, is Wilson. Number 7 at the left point is Bill Barber. As the puck is cleared, but not out. Wilson at the right point. Out of Brian Propp. Holmgren's in front of the net. Lindsman is the other guy in the power play.
to Lindsman. Turning near the corner. Looking for Holmgren in front. There's the pass. Barber's shot blocked. Billy Smith went down as Barber moved in neatly from the point. Henning tried to get it to Bob Bourne, who's out there as a penalty killer. Number 14 is Bourne. Henning wears 10 and on defense. They're using 24 Lane and 6 Morrow as Wilson sets up in the attacking zone. Lindsman shoots. It's blocked by Henning. Holmgren couldn't reach it back of the net. Philadelphia lead 2-1, have the man advantage as Lindsman controls to Wilson. He shoots, it's blocked. Lane felt that one, but he blocked it. Lindsman with the puck. In behind the net with Barber. They get organized now. Lindsman coming in front. He shoots in the crowd. And it's blocked. Bob Bourne brings out the puck. 38 seconds left in Pearson's penalty. Bourne with a burst. He's in the clear. He's stopped by Peters, who sprawled, and a great burst by Bourne. A big save by Peters. It's still 2-1 Philadelphia. Reggie Leach in on Morrow. Leach put it behind the net. Potvin tried to clear it. Daly reaching to it. This is Leach shooting. Just missed the target. 12 seconds left in this power play. Bobby Clark out of the corner. Hill's backhander. Smith stopped it. A scramble. Where's the puck? Crowd yelling for a penalty. Stephen Pearson is out of the penalty box. That's him going to the puck. Play is called for an offside pass because the Islander who handled the puck was offside on the play.
Peters awfully confident in the official's call. That can be confusing. Billy Smith, great pressure. One save off Barber. I don't know if the shot got through, but if it did, it could be the save of the night. Still a 2-1 hockey game, Gary. That's the best power play the Flyers have had in the series, yet they didn't score.
Well, they got good puck movement. There's Holmgren. That's always a constant battle with Smith. And some of the punishment you take. You know, you spend so much time worrying about the guy in front of the net. Sometimes you can sneak one through. There's a good chance that actually didn't really materialize. But here is the play. Watch those legs cross over. That's speed. Wow, if I would have had those legs. Whew.
What a great skater. Unbelievable.
Good play there by Peters to just poke check the puck away from Bobby Bourne.
What if you'd have had those legs?
Still be playing.
It's nice to be able to dream, isn't it, Dick?
Bob Daly goes to the puck. It's poked away by Big Clark Gillies. To Trottier. Moving in on DuPont. Gillies going for the front of the net. Trottier shot. Bounces wide. Kelly starting back for the Flyers. That's McLeish with him. Didn't see the pass. Lorimer plays it to the boards. Potvin scoops it. Knocked down by Rick McLeish. He's got Kelly with him. Moving in on Lorimer and Potvin. The shot went wide as McLeish missed the target. Bridgman with the puck. Back to Daly. Taps a pass to the end boards for Kelly, but Smith poked it aside. Bridgman to McLeish. Lost the puck to Denny Potvin. 7:48 left, second period. 2-1 for Philadelphia. They're battling to survive. Potvin's at center. This is a check from Bridgman. Took a check from Kelly. Sutter from the end boards is checked. McLeish with the puck. Round to Jack McElhargy. Overskates, ran into Howitt. Howitt winds up with the puck. McElhargy took him to the ice. They both go down. And then McElhargy ices the puck. Langevin chasing it. Icing called on Philadelphia. Live from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The Stanley Cup playoffs.
In the second intermission, we welcome the general manager and coach of the Buffalo Sabres, Scotty Bowman, runner-up in Coach of the Year balloting this year, to Pat Quinn of Philadelphia. And we'll have some playoff statistics for you that might be interpreted as trivia, some interesting things that add to the stats made in this playoff year.
There's Ray Scampanello, 33-year-old linesman, his 9th year in the league, about to drop the puck for a big face-off between Lindsman and Trottier. Islanders get the draw. Fossey tries a backhander that's off the target, and Daly rides him in on the boards. From the point, Lane fakes a shot. Got around Holmgren, who picked him up again. The pass went to the corner. Loose puck. Trottier couldn't get a shot. He's well checked. Lane gambles. Couldn't get to the puck. This is Brian Propp.
puck to Morrow, who made a fine play to come across and check it. Bossy to Morrow. This very cool young defenseman from the United States Olympic champions. When they go offside at the Flyer line.
Now, as we look at Ken Morrow, there's an interesting question that's been asked around Philadelphia today. Will the hockey season and the baseball season end on the same night? I don't know if there has been any news from the baseball strike situation, but it could be that the hockey season will last longer than the baseball season at this particular time of year. This is Prop trying to deke Morrow. Morrow played it very well.
He's able to get his stick on it, or his skate rather, and deflect it against the boards. So you really have to be careful in a play like that and make sure you take that body, not be attracted by the puck.
Tom Gorance checked at the Islander line. The puck came outside. It's shot back in by Bridgman. Stephen Pearson has the puck. He's on defense with 26.
We have temporarily lost video from the network. Please stand by.
Think what they have to go through while their husband's at home. He's like a tiger. Goodness sakes, there's no communication for a whole month when the playoffs start.
So Cheryl Dornhofer went through like something like that?
She sure did.
6:17 left, second period. Flyers 2, Islanders 1. Islanders lead the series 3 games to 1. Face off in Islander territory. They're in the road uniforms, blue with orange and white. The Flyers in their home, white with black and orange. If you look at Wayne Merrick, lost the draw. The puck is shot in behind the net. Pearson checked there. Gorance and Langevin battling for the puck. Gorance appears to be hurt. He is. This is Tom Gorance, who took the hard hit from Langevin. Gorance injured.
Hard to tell from here exactly where he has been injured.
Might have hit the top of the boards when he was checked.
It looks like he's holding his knee. Pat Quinn pacing back and forth behind the bench, and they can't afford to lose a guy like Gorance with his speed, which becomes such a factor as the game goes on. And Matt DiPaolo, the physiotherapist, is out there having a look.
Well, he is in obvious pain. Keith Allen, the general manager of the Flyers, looking on with concern from his seat in the press box area. Pat Quinn, back of the bench. He really doesn't know any more than we do, I suppose. It's all happened in back of the Islanders' net as Tom Gorance now receives some treatment. Let's take a look and see if we can spot how it happened. Langevin and Gorance are the players involved. Is it the right leg?
Looks like he hit the knee on the boards, didn't he, Gary?
It looks like Matt DiPaolo is working on the right leg. Again, we're going to see the hit into the boards. And you're just at the mercy of the defenseman when that happens.
It might have been right there when he fell over, with knocked over really by his own man. Or he was involved in the collision.
Calling a doctor out now. He's coming out with Bridgman, as you see, to check on Tom Gorance.
That's Dr. Tort. He is the orthopedic surgeon.
6:07 left in the second period as Clark and Peters have a little break. Their team is ahead, 2-1. Clark and McLeish scoring early in the second period.
Well, we were talking about Tom Gorance earlier in this period, Gary, giving him the biggest boost we have, I suppose, throughout the series, but he has played a very strong game tonight. Wally Harris, the referee, looking on, while at the other end of the rink, the battle-scarred face of Bobby Clark is photographed in close-up as he talks things over with Pete Peters, who I think has really been the big man for the Flyers in this period. Shots on goal have evened up a little bit to this point in the hockey game now. 20-16 as Tom Gorance is assisted to his feet. He got pressure? No, not much on that right leg of his. And everybody at the spectrum here now standing. He's a gritty young hockey player. You saw an earlier shot of that mark on his neck. He was hurt in the the series, was cut earlier on, came back. Now he is being assisted to the Flyers dressing room, and that does not look good for Tom Gorrance or the Flyers.
You know, Dick, you look at the Flyer bench over there, and Pat Quinn says the temperament of our club is fine. Naturally, we're disappointed, but we don't consider ourselves finished. Now we're going to hang in there. We have been a very tentative team. There's the walk up the ramp to the dressing room where further observations will be taken on the knee of Tom Gorrance. A team that is kind of responding after the fact instead of making things happen. It seems that in this second period, though, the Flyers have started to make things happen out there.
Play now resumes as Gorrance goes to the dressing room with what appears to be a serious injury, at least at this stage. Looks like he won't be available. In comes Wayne Merritt, shooting, just kicked off the post. Peters got a piece of it and hit the base of the goalpost, but stayed out. Stephen Pearson and Holmgren raced for the puck. Paul Holmgren lined him up and then swung to the side as the puck went around on the boards. Then Holmgren took out Langevin. Jimmy Watson banks it off the boards for Bridgman. Couldn't control it. Hill trying to steal the puck off Langevin. Play is stopped. Offside called at the blue line.
Langevin was involved in the incident with Gorrance, and Holmgren took 2 runs at him along the boards, once in back of the net, and the other you saw Langevin tried to come out along the left wing. I guess that's the kind of hockey Paul Holmgren plays. Scotty Bowman talking before the game about the importance of Holmgren. Would he play? Wouldn't he play? And he just used one adjective to describe him. He said he's tough.
Well, he's also a leader. You know, he leads by example out there, and when he's out there, it gives the rest of the teammates a little bit of security.
Bill Barber and young Dwayne Sutter waiting on this face-off. Flyers, of course, had 5 extra players in the pregame warm-up. Dave, Beauregard, Paddock, Morrison, and Barnes took the pregame skate but did not dress for the game. And surprisingly, Watson and Holmgren are in there. Butch Goring to the boards to Gillies. Centering it, kicked away by Peters. Clark, back of the net, check. Gillies trying to come in front. A shot. Peters stopped it. And he very coolly covers up the puck, but now Peters grabs the back of his leg. I think he may have been hit by a skate of a teammate in that scramble, and Peters looked shaken up.
Well, Bobby Clark was, I think he got bossy out of, Sutter from out in the crease area. McIlhargey checking to see if Peters is all right. But another close chance by the Islanders as they continue to get those good scoring chances. Here's the action the way Peters sees it. Now watch in front, Sutter. Clark will move in there and just get him right out of there.
There's the skate.
Right across the back of the leg, but Pete's all right.
Shot by Pudvan right on, and Peters handled that and turned it aside. And the puck goes out of play at the Flyer bench directly below us as we look away down in the triple-tiered spectrum. And young Peters continues to be a great story. 29 wins during the regular season, a rookie.
I'm impressed the way he stands up out there and really plays his angle so well. Makes everything look so easy.
Clark fighting for a face-off in his own zone. Ben Wilson with the puck. Barber with Clark on his right. Leach goes to the puck. He shoots. Oh, it went off the knee of Clark Gillies. That stung him. Dwayne Sutter moving in on McIlhargey. Clark Gillies into the corner. Back comes Barber. There's McLeish loose, but the play was broken up by Lorimer. Otherwise, Rick McLeish may have been put in the clear. McIlhargey puts it in, but Leach is trapped offside.
Game 6 in the Stanley Cup final round. The action will switch back to the Nassau Coliseum, home ice of the Islanders, and the game will be played on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock start. So if Game 6 is necessary, it will be played at the Nassau Coliseum Saturday afternoon, starting at 2 Eastern Time.
I think
Pat Quinn, 37 years of age. A few gray hairs in that scalp. And there's the Flyer puck that's going to be dropped here. by John D'Amico, who refereed 3 years in the league, and he's been a linesman for 13. Flyers lead 2-1. Stephen Pearson now with the puck to Langevin. Another native of Minnesota in the NHL. Langevin shoots it in, and that tricky bouncer handled by Pete Peters. DuPont to Bridgman. Coming out with McLeish and Hill. Hill going after the puck with Stephen Pearson. Hill falls. Pearson gets the puck to Langevin. Pace slowing a little bit here. Of course, it was about 82 degrees Fahrenheit in Philadelphia today, but good air conditioning here, and the building's not bad as in comes Trottier. Backhands it. Peters picked it off. There was no place for that shot to go. Islanders with another chance. Stephen Pearson shot. They score! Deflected in front. Trottier, I believe, deflected it. It's a 2-2 tie.
Flyers had control of the puck after the save by Peters and coughed it up, and it cost them.
You know what is very impressive here about the Islanders? Watch how they converge in front of that net. And also the low shot by Pearson. There it comes. 1-2 players going at that net. And Trottier was in perfect position. I like this angle right here. That'll tell the whole story. Peters trying to get a look at it. There comes Trottier. Gets it right out of the air. That's pretty good timing there. Concentration.
And ties the point record for playoffs. 27 for Trottier.
16-16, the time of the goal. It's 2-all. Playing Islander territory. We're late in the second period. Stanley put it around on the boards. Linsman just failed to pick it up. A shot bounces away from Holmgren and comes to center ice. 3:24 left in the period. Busnick puts the puck into New York territory. Morrow chased by Linsman. Morrow starting a rush. To Tonelli. Intended for Merrick in front. He's well checked in front of the net by Watson. Back come the Flyers. Brian Propp to Busnick. To Propp. Going for the front of the net is Linsman. Went off his skate as Linsman couldn't get a stick on it. A chance in front. They score! Holmgren was in front as Brian Propp scores for Philadelphia.
Boy, the timing of that is big for the Flyers as they regain the lead.
Well, you'd think that the Flyers would sag after Trottier tied the game, but that's always the sign of a good hockey club that can come back and get a goal after being scored against. Now watch, nobody takes Propp. They're worried about Holmgren. 2 men converge on him. No good.
We have temporarily lost video from the network. Please stand by.
Rossi and Pearson to tie it, but the lead is regained by the Flyers less than a minute later. This is Sutter. McIlhargey lines him up and jumps at him in the corner. McIlhargey and Sutter. Wally Harris is there, and they do a little pushing after the officials arrive.
They announced Busnick as the goal scorer. Did we have 26 and 28 confused at the close quarters down there? Anyway, officially it's Busnick from Propp and Linsman. The scoring play after Trottier had scored from Bossy and Persson at 16-16. The Flyers goal came at 17:04 as they regained the lead at 3-2 Philadelphia.
Through the course of the game, you'll see players drinking a lot of water. Kenny Linsman had just finished.
Okay,
let's see if we can pick that up.
26 or 28. Puck is in.
It is Busnick.
Yeah, 28, right.
Well, I'll apologize to the Mike Busnick fan club of Thunder Bay. That's his second goal of the playoffs.
So will I.
And for all of us, Jim, thank you.
He went right to the front. What was he doing up in there in front of the net, Garrett?
That's what trying to score a goal.
Scoring a big goal. 3-2, Philadelphia leads. 2:26 left, second period. Bridgman starting out. Rick McLeish is with him, so is Propp. Or Hill is number 15 out there with him, and Hill winds up with the puck momentarily. Now Bridgman. Hill's going to the front of the net. Bridgman trying to get McLeish the puck, and it's broken up. Butch Goring to Clark Gillies. On the right, Dwayne Sutter. Goring trying to get it back to Gillies. Play broken up. 2 minutes left in the period as Hill took a run at Langevin, but Langevin didn't bounce.
During the the course of this final series, Howie Meeker has joined us on our telecast, but Howie is not here tonight. He has gone home because his son Howie Jr. is ill in hospital in Nanaimo, British Columbia. So to Howie Meeker Jr., the best from hockey fans, I'm sure, everywhere. And hopefully that you will recover in time and Howie could rejoin us should the series go on. So our best to Howie Meeker Jr. in hospital in Nanaimo.
And it's a good time for me to say hello to all hospital patients and shut-ins, the fans who can't get out to hockey games, but are enjoying the excitement of the Stanley Cup final. Will it end tonight? 1:57 left, second period. 3-2 Philadelphia. Bill Barber, shot, blocked, another shot. Smith stopped it after Lorimer had blocked the first one. Daly hustles in deep, blocked the pass. It's loose in the crease, and it's steered away. Barber tried to keep it onside. Daly gets back to the puck. Now for Clark, bumping with Bossy. Clark for Barber. On his left is Reggie Leach. Play broken up by Lorimer. Brought in offside by Clark. It's scrambly and it's tension-packed out there.
Just been given a news item here. Talks in the baseball strike situation broke down about 2.5 hours ago. The federal mediator says only a slight chance they will resume discussion tonight. If they don't, of course, the strike begins. Gary, that's some heavy traffic in front of the net. Both ends of the rink. Oh.
We mentioned earlier the Flyers with extra players in the pregame warm-up. The Islanders had one extra player in the pregame warm-up, Steve Tambellini, but he's not in the lineup. But he did warm up with the team prior to the game, a player on the roster not dressed for the big game. Islanders have pretty well gone with the same lineup. Flyers, because of injuries, have been forced to make some changes during the series. Barber's pass tipped away. Reg Leach in the slot. Lets the shot go, but it's tipped away. Mike Bossy turning with the puck. We're in the last minute of the second period. Philadelphia 3, New York Islanders 2. Play in Philadelphia territory. DuPont's long pass. Tipped ahead to Linsman. He shoots. Smith handled it all the way. Steered it aside for Lane. Over skating. Linsman comes at him. Lane put it off the boards and got it out. Linsman with his great skating pounced on the puck. Now to Holmgren. Jim Watson with the puck. Shooting it in. Holmgren's racing in after it. Smith scooped it away and went into the crowd.
Well, I guess Paul Holmgren has made quite a difference out there. Dan Kelly mentioned right off the top, inspiration, if you will. Maybe we overuse the word sometimes, but that sort of thing helps out. Remember Wayne Cashman coming out of a hospital bed. Was that a year ago in that semifinal series against Montreal? Nobody expected him to play. There he was. Holmgren almost the same thing as Gary pointed out the last time you saw him, Gary. Before tonight, he had a cast on his leg.
Well, you know, he plays a rambunctious style. You should see him on the racquetball court the same way. The only thing that keeps him from leaving the room are the walls.
Nystrom with the puck ahead of him is Trottier taking the pass. Watson came back to take the puck away from Brian Trottier. Linsman to Holmgren. On the left is Bridgman. There's the pass to Bridgman. There's the shot. Smith had trouble with it. Covered up the puck. 10 seconds left in the period.
Billy Smith has always been able to come up with a big save to keep the Islanders in the game. Good two-way passing play here. Holmgren headmans that puck. Shot from the top of the circle. Billy Smith doesn't really go out as far out of his net as a Pete Peters will or a Joe Malash of the Minnesota North Stars, but he has the angle, gets his body in front of it. That's always the key. In case you miss it with a glove, get it with a body.
Wide open second period. There a total of 28 shots.
Islanders have outshot the Flyers 25-19 so far in the game as Wayne Merrick, with that shield to protect an eye injury of the past, gets ready for a face-off. A very key one as Bobby Clark will take it for the Flyers. He's talking as an assistant coach right now to where he wants to draw the puck to try and get a shot late in this period with 10 seconds on the clock. Watch this big draw. Islanders got possession. Merrick did the job. 5 seconds left in the period. Barber, long pass for Reggie Leach, too far ahead. Smith scooped it to the corner. The time has run out. In the second period, the Islanders outshot the Flyers 15-13 for a 25-19 edge through 2 periods of play.
Well, you know, once they get in that dressing room, there'll be a lot of conversation. relax, loosen up the skates, have an orange, drink a water or Coke, and then really get ready for that third period. A big one for the Flyers.
So the score at the end of the second period, the Philadelphia Flyers 3, the New York Islanders 2.
Pleasure to have Scotty Bowman, the general manager and coach of the Buffalo Sabres, with us in this intermission, and later on we'll find out exactly how this game is approached by the rival coaches, Pat Quinn and Al Arbour. But right now, Scotty, I'll get your impressions of the game we've seen so far. There have been some complaints that the hockey hasn't been good enough in this series. I get the feeling that as it progresses, the hockey keeps getting better. If we ever get to a seventh game, it could be very good.
Well, I think, yes, the Flyers are digging a little deeper now. You know, Holmgren and Watson are obviously hurt, but they're playing. That's the importance of the game. And I thought Pete Peters came up big in the beginning of the second period. There hasn't been a lot of scoring chances, but he did come back after, say, a tainted goal. The first one, it was a good shot, but he didn't have his angle on it. And I think the Flyers are just going with everything. And, of course, the Islanders, that last goal by the Flyers was a big one, I think, because if they could have got out of this period 2-2, then, you know, the pressure would be on the home team.
You mentioned the goaltending in previous Stanley Cup finals with people like Ken Dryden and Bernie Parent involved. Goaltending has been talked about a lot. These are not the celebrated goaltenders in that sense. How important do you think goaltending is, or has been, or will be?
Well, it's certainly been important in this series. Experience, I think, factor. Billy Smith has proved that, you know, against us, and certainly in this series he's playing very well. He hasn't had as much work tonight as maybe in the other games, but I think the offense is a little ahead of the defense. There's been a lot of open chances, good scoring shots. Bossy's had a few, and, you know, you can't give fellows like that enough chances. They're going to put them in, and the goalies have had to have their angles well covered, and I think they've come up pretty well in this game.
The poise of Peters is something you wouldn't expect from a rookie goaltender.
No, and especially, you know, like they've been alternating sort of back and forth, and Muir played in the Minnesota series, so yes, he had to come up big tonight or the team would have been eliminated, and they're right in there right now.
Thank you to Scotty Bowman. We'll hear from him later. As I said, in this second intermission, the score is the Flyers 3 and the Islanders 2. Only once in the previous 41 best-of-7 Stanley Cup finals has a team come from a 3-1 deficit to win the Cup, and that's what the Philadelphia Flyers have to do now. That is just one statistic of many that is contained in the Stanley Cup National Hockey League rule book, or record book, as it were, and we're going to give you a chance to look at more statistics right here.
Statistics always give sports fans some interesting points to ponder, and we're going to run through a few of them right now as pertaining to the Stanley Cup. In 1893, Lord Stanley of Preston purchased the Stanley Cup for the princely sum of $50. Since then, alterations have cost about $6,000. The engraving of names on the Stanley Cup has cost about $10,000. Henri Richard, longtime star with the Montreal Canadiens, holds the record for having his name on the Stanley Cup 11 times. But there is someone else who also has his name on the Stanley Cup 11 times. That man is Toe Blake. His name is on the cup once as a player with the Montreal Maroons, twice as a player with the Montreal Canadiens, and a record 8 times as coach of the Montreal Canadiens. Jean Rattel, a longtime National Hockey League star, appeared in the playoffs 9 times while a member of the New York Rangers. He has been in the playoffs 5 times as a member of the Boston Bruins, a total of 14 years in Stanley Cup competition, and yet Jean Rattel has never been on a Stanley Cup winner. In 1952, goaltender Terry Sawchuk of the Detroit Red Wings in Stanley Cup play had the amazing goals against average of 0.62 in 8 games. That's all it took the Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. Frank King Clancy has been a man of many careers in professional hockey. He played in the Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs, he coached in the playoffs with the Maple Leafs, and he was also a referee, working 67 times as an official in Stanley Cup competition. Jean Beliveau, another superstar of the Montreal Canadiens, was the first winner of the Conn Smythe Trophy. That was in 1965. Goaltender Bernie Parent is the only player to have won the Conn Smythe Trophy in consecutive years. In 1974, he was the winner as his Philadelphia Flyers defeated the Bruins. In 1975, the Flyers beating Buffalo.
In 1929, this Niagara generating station was the largest in the world. Generators built in Peterborough by Canadian General Electric and turbines built in Montreal by Dominion Engineering, a CGE company, were part of it. Today's Grand Coulee project in Washington State uses turbines engineered by Dominion and the world's most powerful hydro generators built in Canada by CGE. Progress for people from Canadian General Electric.
All of these oils were independently tested for the same thing, permanent viscosity breakdown. And while all of them are good oils that meet or exceed SE standards, only one of them showed no permanent viscosity breakdown, no permanent thinning out at all. Our oil, new Castrol GTX 10W30. In the final analysis, it doesn't break down.
We've had two records tied so far tonight. Brian Trottiers' 27th point, and before that, the Islanders' 12th playoff goal of this best-of-7 Stanley Cup final. And now for more of what you might always have wanted to know about the Stanley Cup playoffs.
The last Stanley Cup game to end in a tie was played in 1951 in Toronto between the Leafs and the Boston Bruins. Toronto's blue laws would not permit the game to extend beyond midnight on a Saturday. After one overtime period, the score was tied 1-1. The law has since been changed. Goaltender Jacques Plante holds the record for career shutouts in Stanley Cup play. He had 14 in 16 Stanley Cup appearances, 10 with Montreal, 4 with St. Louis. Philadelphia was the first of the so-called expansion teams to win the Stanley Cup, doing it in 1974, beating Boston in the finals. The legendary Maurice the Rocket Richard holds the Stanley Cup career record for most goals with 82. Jean Beliveau holds the Stanley Cup record for career points. He amassed 176. Another longtime Montreal star, Henri Richard, has the record for most Stanley Cup games played, 180. But when it comes to appearing most in Stanley Cup competition, that record is held by Matt Pavlich. He's been involved in more Stanley Cup games than anyone else. Pavlich officiated as a linesman 220 times in the playoffs. In 1970, the NHL expanded to include Buffalo and Vancouver. There was a mix-up in numbers in the first draft. Number 1 would give Vancouver top choice, number 11, Buffalo. The wrong number was called. Punchimlak spotted the error. Number 11 was the correct one. He chose Gilbert Perreault, and since then, Gilbert Perreault has worn number 11 with the Buffalo Sabres. Reg Leach of the Philadelphia Flyers holds the record for most goals in one playoff year, scoring 19 times in 1976. And though on the losing team, still won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Scotty Bowman, as coach, has the most winning games in Stanley Cup play, now over 100, with St. Louis, Montreal, and Buffalo. Last year, Bowman became only the second man in Stanley Cup history to coach Cup winners 4 years in a row.
And we will follow that last note with Scotty Bowman of the Buffalo Sabres talking about the coaching in this series. And here in tonight's 5th game as we return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
That's our point of view. Come on and join us. We're counting on you. Breaking away for the good times.
this Canadian destroyer, about 250 men work as a team with some of the most advanced electronic equipment in the world, helping to keep Canada strong. If you've got what it takes, there may be a future for you in Maritime Command, full-time or part-time.
There's no life like it. There's no life like it. No, there's no life like it.
Ask us about you. You'll find us under Recruiting in the Yellow Pages.
At electric power sites in Canada, engineers from China are learning new techniques. They know Canadians have one of the most reasonably priced and reliable electric power services in the world. And like many other countries, they come to study our innovations, like pioneering extra high voltage transmission.
Well done, Canada.
Constant innovation. It's one reason Canadians enjoy one of the most reasonably priced and reliable electric power services in the world.
On a goal by Mike Busnick, the Philadelphia Flyers have a 3-2 lead over the New York Islanders in game number 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. And Scotty Bowman has returned. He's been in this situation as far as Al Arbour and Pat Quinn are concerned. You've needed one victory to win the Stanley Cup, and you've needed a win to prolong a series. In Arbour's case, does he try to avoid any mention of the Stanley Cup on this day and coming to the rink tonight?
I think so, because you know that you need that game, and you realize that the other club is really going to come up with their best, and especially on the other team's ice. But Al's got experience now. He's been in the league coaching for at least 6-7 years, and the team has had a lot of ups and downs, and of course now they've got a lot of confidence. So you know, I would regard him as a very experienced coach this time.
Do you have any sentimental attachment with respect to Al Arbour in this series?
Oh yes, Al was a captain when I was in St. Louis, and you know, if you have to give it up, you like to give it up to somebody you know. But the Flyers, you have to respect the year that they've had. You know, Pat Quinn has done a terrific job, and not as experienced as Al, and but has molded a team and has played a lot of young players in key situations, and that's why they're here.
Now, if Arbour doesn't want to get the Islanders up too high in terms of winning the Stanley Cup right now, Quinn has to be thinking of winning 3 games in a row, but maybe not talking about that, just taking them one at a time, as the old saying goes.
Yes, and the fact that if it did go 3 more games, 2 would be here. So, you know, it's not a monumental task, and the Islanders realize that the pressure would go on them in the 6th game, but they've reacted to the pressure. I think in this instance, with a 1-goal lead, the Islanders realize that one shot, the game is tied, and, you know, from there on, 1 more goal and you win the Stanley Cup. So, you know, going in, I think, 1 goal down in the 3rd period, certainly on the Islanders' standpoint, they realize they're close.
Is there one player that you think is more important than another on either side? I guess in terms of picking a Conn Smythe Trophy winner, I haven't seen it this close in a long time.
No, and I think the last 3 or 4 shifts, Pat Quinn is getting Bobby Clarke out against Trottier. He respects the Trottier line, and on the other hand, Al Arbour, I think except for the goal that Clarke scored, it's been Potvin and Lorimer most of the time. In the Islanders' playoff strategy, they've matched Potvin and Lorimer against the offensive threats of the other club, and it's paid off. But Bossy's had some good chances, and you have to go to a goal scorer that, you know, he's come close on 3 or 4 good shots, and he doesn't need too many to put it in.
How about the Islanders going with 6 defensemen? There have been pros and cons when that has been discussed.
Well, I think it had to go this way with the series that they've played, and tonight the Flyers are playing with 6, not evenly or as evenly as the Islanders, but on the specialty teams, Potvin's killing the penalties sometimes, and he's on every power play, so that extra rest at this time of the year I think will pay off.
These, at least until the Holmgren and Watson injuries, are the 2 healthiest teams of any that entered the playoffs, or certainly any that went very far. And I don't think that's a coincidence, do you, with the way the schedule was set up this year?
No, they're big and strong. You know, that's the factor in this part of a series where, you know, there may not be a lot of speed at times by some of the players, but they're strong in the corners, and their defense are, you know, they're very mobile.
Scotty Bowman has coached the last 4 Stanley Cup winners in Montreal. He had wanted to make it 5 in Buffalo this year. Al Arbour or Pat Quinn will get the honor of coaching this year's Stanley Cup winner. Thanks to you, Scotty. Enjoy the rest of the game. And now let's go up to do the same ourselves and listen to Jim Robson and Gary Dornhofer and Dick Early.
Teams are on the ice. The Philadelphia Flyers, are they just 1 period away from their final game of the season, a losing effort? Are the New York Islanders just 1 game away from their first ever Stanley Cup victory? 20 minutes of action ahead. In the 2nd period, 4 goals, and the Flyers scored 3 times to go ahead 3-2. Bobby Clarke at 1:35, Rick McLeish at 5:55, and then what might be a very important part of that period, Gary, after Trache's goal at 16-16 tied the game, Busnick came back 48 seconds later as the Flyers regained the lead. Much closer shots on goal, 15-13 in that period. It's 25-19 overall for New York. Before we get to Gary's comment on the second period, a look ahead to a possible sixth game. Should the Flyers win tonight, they'll go at it again at the Nassau Coliseum Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Gary?
There's no sense in looking ahead. I'm sure that every single guy in the Flyers Hockey Club is just concerned about this period. Every single shift they play now, it has to be a lot of concentration. They certainly don't want to have tired troops out there and give the Islanders an opportunity on a break because you're tired. So a lot of concentration, and I think communication is a big word that has to be used now. Pete Peters has been so effective up until now. He has to keep the Islanders at bay, and I think alert his defense, alert the players around him to what is happening.
Here we go to the third period. The score is 3-2 Philadelphia. The Flyers in the home white, black and orange. The Islanders in the road blue with white and orange. Potvin goes for the puck, an early icing call against Philadelphia, who are starting the period with Mark, Barber, and Leach. Daly and DuPont on defense. A lot of experience starting the final 20 minutes of this important game, unless you go into overtime.
As we look at Bobby Clark heading for the faceoff spot, since it was so mild and humid out here today, you know, we suspected that the ice would be a little slow. Up until now, though, it has held out relatively well. The puck is sliding well. I don't know about this third period, though, but that could be a factor as the game goes on.
Play in the Fire zone. Bossy coming away from the boards. Nice pass to Lormer. Left point to Potvin. A shot went high. Deflection among the spectators.
Well, Denny Potvin has been a very, very big man in this series, especially from an offensive standpoint. He made the defensive mistake, however, tonight, which cost him the goal by McLeish. And Gary, you pointed out in our last show, or a couple of shows ago anyway, that while he has just been a tower of strength offensively, defensively sometimes, if you work on him enough, he's made some mistakes.
I thought the last game in the Island was his best defensive effort. He was superb out there, especially when he gets the puck and makes those plays. You know, the Flyers respect his ability of moving the puck, and they're a little hesitant in going in there when he's out there. They go in and they come out.
Trache and Clark on this face-off. Islanders momentarily at possession on loose. Puck in front was steered wide by Bourne. Barber. Checked by Trache, who stole the puck neatly from behind. Daly going back to get the puck as the Islanders make their first change of the period. They only had a 30-second shift. Clark to Barber. Tips right to Lorimer. Now it's dumped in by Sutter. Bob Daly turns with the puck. Mark Gillies moves to him. Al Hill in possession for Philadelphia. Hands it to Goring. Morrow with the puck. Bumped by McLeish. Daly back to get the puck. Goring moves to check him as the puck is cleared to center. Morrow puts it off the boards for Sutter. Passed it to Al Hill. The score is 3-2 Flyers. Gillies lost his balance as he dumped the puck in, and Jack McElhargy goes to it. Goring moves into check. Bridgman bumped near the corner, and Daly comes up with the puck. Daly coming out. McLeish is on his right as the pass goes astray. Sutter and Bridgman bump in the corner lane with the puck. McLeish fell, checking him. Mark Gillies to Goring. On the right is Sutter. Goring gets him the puck. Sutter in on goal. Hook. Penalty coming up to Philadelphia. Islanders trailing by a goal will now put their power play on the ice from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. This is Stanley Cup 80.
Down the Matagami, the Humber, from the great renewable forests. They come. Logs. Logs to build a better Canada. And Homelight is there. Homelight, the chainsaw king. Rugged as the men who run it, men who fell the mighty fir and see it rise again. When the time in your life comes to get a chainsaw, get the king. A Canadian-made Homelight, the Chainsaw King.
Well, Ben Wilson of the Flyers started to skate toward the penalty box when the call was made, but it's Jack McElhargy who has been penalized by referee Wally Harris. Well, they were both in on the act. Wilson knocking Sutter down with the hook from behind. McElhargy finishing it off, and he is the one who is penalized.
You know, know, Sutter was, the flyer had him at the blue line, let him go, and then he cut for that opening, and it was a perfect pass. Would have been in home free, so that's why the penalty resulted.
Islanders on the power play, trailing by a goal. Clark battling for the puck along the boards, and it's steered on down the ice by Jimmy Watson. Setting up the Islander power play. That's Potvin with the puck. Number 7, Pearson, is playing the other point. This is Trottier. Now to Bourne. Crowd yells for an offside, but John DeMico right there, motioned onside. Potvin couldn't keep the puck into Flyer territory. Mike Bossy to Bob Bourne. Trottier's moving towards the front of the net. Trottier from behind the goal. To Bossy, a quick shot, flipped up in the air. A bouncing puck. Potvin. The play is called because of a high stick pass by Bossy. So the faceoff will go right back in the Islander zone, because when you have a man advantage, knock the puck out of the air with a high stick in the attacking zone, the faceoff penalizes you back in your own zone.
Gary, I find the Flyers look a little bit tight here to start this final third period, rather.
Now there's a good setup to Bossy with that man behind the net. That always becomes an effective play where the centerman, he can see everything in front of him. Well, Dick, I think a lot of that has to do with the pressure that the Flyers feel. They can't afford to make any mistakes, and that lies heavily on everybody's mind, too. One mistake and we got a tie hockey game, so I'm sure they're thinking about that.
There's the time left in McIlhargey's penalty. Bridgman battling for a face-off to Barber. A shot right on. Smith made the save. Trottier comes out with the puck. Barber moves to check him. The crowd is reacting to Pearson and Bridgman locked up behind the play. Potvin with the puck. Barber checking, and the puck is centered. Peters covers it up, stops the play.
You know, Dick, it's very difficult to play with confidence and poise when you're on the brink of elimination. I mean, the hands tighten up, the skates don't want to work, the legs don't want to work. Feels like you have Scotch tape on the blades.
Well, I sit up here and complain if they look tight and nervous, and you know what it's like because you've been down there feeling nervous.
Tight. Get me off the ice, coach.
Bridgman facing off against Trottier. Puck bounces near Pearson, steered away by Barber. The penalty killers for the Flyers, number 10, Bridgman, going after the puck. Out there with number 7, Barber on defense, Daly, and now DuPont, who goes to the puck. Scoops it high. Down the ice, to kill more time in McIlhargey's penalty. 40 seconds left in that penalty. Potvin starting a rush. To Bossy. Shooting it in. Peters stops it back of the net. Scoops it to Daly. Put it into the crowd.
Well, so far the Islanders have not been able to really exert all that much pressure on this power play situation. McIlhargey in the box with 28 seconds left to serve. The first goal of the hockey game was a power play goal for the Islanders, their 12th of the series. That is a record. But the 4 goals scored in the second period, 3 of them by Philadelphia, all came with the teams at even strength, regular strength. Penalties were not involved. Only 1 penalty call actually in the second period. Now McIlhargey here early in the third as the goal judge looks on.
3 minutes, 15 seconds gone, third period. The score is 3-2 for Philadelphia. New York scrapping to get control on a power play with time running out in McIlhargey's penalty as Clark fights for the puck. Loose to Tonelli. Clark stays with him. This is Stephen Pearson. Checked by Watson. Back to the point. Merrick shot, stopped by Peters. Potvin taps it to Nystrom, a shot blocked by Busnick. Busnick took out Potvin. Tonelli battling on the boards. Now it's Potvin. Back to Nystrom. The penalty's over. McIlhargey might have a breakaway, but Smith comes out to get to the puck first. McIlhargey hit Nystrom on the boards in front of the Islander bench. There they are, all tangled up after that collision. Tonelli moving in on goal. Unfortunately, he missed the stick of Andre DuPont. Play very scrambly. Checking is tight. DuPont goes to the puck. Tonelli moves in to check him. Daly slides at the center. Nystrom intercepts. Dumps it in. DuPont putting it on the board. Went off the referee's skate. DuPont dumps it to center. Morrow starting back. He's with Tonelli and Sutter. Daly broke up the play. Sutter from behind the net tried to center it. Daly hit him at the side of the goal. The puck is in the mesh. There it is, and the play stops. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Here it comes, Canada's great-selling sporty little car. And see how it runs. The excitement begins the moment you get behind the wheel. Mustang, a real thoroughbred on the open road. Mustang! Fun to drive, great fuel economy, reasonably priced. Mustang! If you're ready for a new scene, you don't have to climb a mountain. Just see your Ford dealer.
Ben Wilson getting a little urging from the fans as he's a defenseman with this Philadelphia team. And you knew they weren't going to quit at any time in this series. And a lot of people had counted them out before this game. But they lead it 3-2 with 15-15 left in the third period. Rick McLeish with the puck. To Bridgman. On his left is Hill. Bridgman moving in on Lane, slowing up a bit. Smith scooped the puck to the corner. Left sitting there. Wilson keeping it in. Lane knocking it down and clears it. Wilson back to get the puck. He's on defense with 29 McElhargy. Up front, Hill taking a pass. Tipped off the stick. Morrow from behind the net. Now to put scoring. Knocked down in a collision with McElhargy. The Islanders have to go back a game. They trail 3-2, but lead the series 3-1. Morrow and Hill are doing a little fencing in front of the net as the puck comes onto Goring's stick. Now Lane on the right for Lorimer. Over skates. They're having trouble handling the puck. The tension building. Goring shot. Deflects wide. Sutter at the side of the net. Peters covers up the puck as Howitt and Bridgman get into a little exchange, and now everybody arrives to talk it over.
Well, all season, the Flyers have been a very strong hockey club in the third period. In fact, they pulled out many a tie and many a victory by their good conditioning. But so far at the start of this third period, it's been the Islanders with the speed, the Islanders with the forechecking, and the Flyers are a team that are holding on.
There you see the time they have to hold on in regulation time, 14-13. Only 5 shots so far in this period. 3 by New York and 2 by Philadelphia.
Dick, I don't know if it's the Flyers' strategy to kind of sit on that lead. I don't think Quinn would want to play that way, because anytime you just hang back and let a team come to you, it's just a matter of time before it's in your net. So Flyers will have to generate some kind of offense.
Ooh, good save by Peters on a faceoff. Tom Gorant was injured in the second period as Peters gets up after another big stop. He has injured his right knee. Is undergoing a checkup now as they mix it up on the ice. And there's the little camp meeting. Gorance will not be back in this game. It's hoped he will be all right for Saturday if Game 6 is needed.
Well, now this is vigorous style. It was very strong here tonight in the early going. Brian Trottier won that faceoff there a minute ago and set up Mike Bossy for that quick shot. Just to recap the Trottier situation, he has a point tonight, a goal, his 27th. Tying Phil Esposito and Frank Mahovlich with the most points in one playoff year. Espo, 27 points in 1970 with Boston, and the Big M in 1971 with Montreal. Now he shares it right there, Brian Trottier.
Those are the top 2 face-off men in this series, Trottier and Clark. It's only fitting that they go against each other in these crucial face-offs.
Islanders keep it in. Potvin shot. Peters got a piece of it. Potvin had 6 shots through the first 2 periods. Tops in this game. Reggie Leach shooting. They went off Potvin's leg. Lorimer checked by Clark back of the net. Watch Clark keep working for that puck. It's cleared to center. DuPont after it. The crowd is not booing. They're chanting Moose, as they do when DuPont handles the puck. Icing is waved off. Lorimer back to get the puck. Daly intercepts. Clark leaves it as it goes behind the net. Leach interfered with going after the puck. Potvin knocked down by Barber. Out comes Mike Bossy on his right as Bourne. Bossy with the move by Daly. The pass intercepted by Leach, as Bourne had slowed up and didn't join Bossy. Here comes an Islander penalty to Lorimer. Lorimer will go to the penalty box at 6:43 of this third period. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Lorimer's in the penalty box. Guilty as charged, and would Don Cherry say he drew a dummy penalty?
I don't know. I think you don't want to take one right at the center ice area, and Lorimer got caught. And now he can just sit there, watch, hope. Come on, Flyers, have a bad power play until I get back on the ice. That's the situation that he's in.
Philadelphia with a man advantage and a 3-2 lead. Brian Propp with the puck. Taken in on the board. And the puck is steered out. Wilson back after it. Wilson, number 3. Lindstrom, number 14. And that pass was almost intercepted. Now Brian Propp moving in to set up on the power play. Loose puck. Holmgren picks it out of the corner. To Lindstrom. Barber and now Propp are stationed at the points. Wilson to Barber. Shooting. Loose puck. Another chance. Billy Smith picked it off. Robbing Brian Propp.
Shooting gallery time.
Well, that certainly showed the quickness of a Billy Smith and how he's able to keep his balance, keep his concentration, not go flopping on the ice. Look at the quickness getting up. 1, 2. Oh, I like the way he comes out the challenge, sneaks that glove up, and he's got it.
Now here's your favorite camera angle, Gary.
There's Holmgren to start the play by screening. Now, what he's doing out there, that takes practice. They work on that all through the year, keeping the balance, and Holmgren even keeps Smith from falling on the ice. Good exhibition by both goaltenders.
And how about that? Holmgren showing some real sportsmanship there, holding up Smith so he wouldn't fall back. Potvin rushing. His team is short-handed. He's got some room to skate with Goring. Shot it to the corner. Holmgren coming back. For Propp too far ahead. Bourne scoops it out. Henning going after the puck with Barber. Barber turned in the corner. Henning keeps digging. Bourne almost stole the puck. Steered away from in front. Holmgren picked off the puck. 45 seconds left in Lorimer's penalty. Flyers are leading 3 goals to 2. Need a win to keep alive in the Stanley Cup final. Then Wilson from behind the net, and the crowd is in a steady uproar. All 17,000 plus. Then Wilson has to dump it to the corner. Trottier and Hill after the puck. 17 seconds left in Lorimer's penalty. The Flyers can't get set up on the power play. Islanders make a change in their penalty killers. Goring and Trottier out there with Pearson and Langevin. Langevin's got the puck, shoots it down the ice. Now the penalty is over. There's Lorimer hustling for the bench on the far side to allow his team to make a change. Nystrom replaces him. Smith handling a bouncing puck. Stephen Pearson. Tipped ahead. This is Butch Goring on his right. Bob Nystrom moving in on DuPont. Nystrom and DuPont battling in the corner. They go to the ice. Pinelli behind the net. Clark chasing, and so's Daly. The pass. The shot. Good save by Peters on the shot by Wayne Merrick. Now the Flyers ice the puck to ease the pressure, and it is exciting. With the score, Philadelphia 3, the New York Islanders 2. This is Stanley Cup 80.
30, 40, 50. Now, the LWT series from North Star. Their style is born from function. Built to breathe because your feet breathe. Built to flex because your feet flex. Built light so your feet can fly. Heels that flare, soles that grip on impact. The LWT series from North Star. Keeping up with your feet.
Now there you see the situation. Time to play in regulation time. 10:38. Flyers leading by 1. 6-5 the shots in favor of New York in this period. 3 of those Flyers shots in that one sequence.
Langevin shooting it to the corner. Merrick turning with the puck. To the corner for Tonelli. Got away from Rick McLeish. Tonelli to Pearson. Good save by Peters on Stephen Pearson. This is Rick McLeish in on Langevin. The shot. He scores! Rick McLeish, 4-2, Philadelphia.
Bedlam reigns supreme. Happy Bedlam at the Spectrum. Gary, when McLeish got his first goal of the game in the second period, you mentioned one of the things he does best, that quick, sneaky wrist shot. This time he catches the short side on Billy Smith.
You know, he just doesn't telegraph it. You never know when he's going to release it. There it comes, catches Smith on the short side up high. And that's something that Ricky does so well. And remember the last game, he was on the ice for a few goals against, but he's redeeming himself tonight.
Right after the big save by Peters at the other end. Return rush.
The second goal of the game for Rick McLeish. His ninth goal of the playoffs. Here's a loose puck at the side, and Nystrom just failed to score for the Islanders. There's going to be a penalty to Kelly for hitting Tonelli. Bob Kelly and Tonelli had an exchange. And it looks like Kelly is going to get the only penalty, as Wally Harris indicates interference. Stanley Cup 80 will continue in a moment.
Over 50 kinds of lawn weeds have lost their lives in the ongoing war between weeds and Killex, Canada's leading lawn weed killer. We do not ask you to remember these weeds. Just don't forget easy-to-apply Killex from Green Cross. Killex. Lawns love it. Weeds die for it.
With less than 10 minutes left in regulation time, quite a dramatic situation has come up. The Flyers leading by 2, but they are now going to play shorthanded. There you see why Bob Kelly has been penalized for interference. And that big power play of the Islanders gets a chance to get their team to within 1.
Well, from the Islanders' standpoint, they need one right now. You know, they're 2 behind. There's still plenty of time, but what an opportunity with that man advantage.
10:03, the time of Kelly's penalty. The score 4-2 for the Flyers. Potvin put it in front. Kache turning with the puck. Daly took him off it. Clark Gillies. Bossie's waiting in the slot. Potvin from the point. Clark Gillies in front of the net, being checked by Daly. Clark gets the puck to Reggie Leach. Leach in on Stephen Pearson. The shot just missed for that one. Smith, I believe, got his arm on it. Potvin with a move away from Leach. Kelly's penalty is the 6th penalty to the Flyers as Crutchy centers the puck. Stephen Pearson shooting. Hit Clark Gillies in front as he was tied up by Daly. Bridgman fighting for the puck. Clark Gillies was interfered with heavily in front of the net. Knocked down, and Stephen Pearson has the puck. 1 minute gone, and the penalty to Bob Kelly. Mike Bossy. Potvin now shooting it in. Peters very cool. Stops it back of the net. Jimmy Watson clears it out. Barber racing after it. Slowed up by Potvin. That's why the crowd's unhappy. Potvin with the puck. Jim Watson breaks it up. 36 seconds left in Kelly's penalty. A race for the puck. Peters comes out of the net. Sweeps it behind the goal to Jim Watson. Playing with a very sore shoulder. Watson clears the puck out. 20 seconds left in Kelly's penalty. 8:15 left in regulation time. Bob Bourne. Now for Morrow. Morrow centering it. A deflection, a scramble. They hammer away. Bourne could not put it in the net. Peters down in the crease. Made a couple of big saves. Bobby Carson's got a breakaway. Has the play stopped? Yes, it has. Peters is down on his hands and knees. There's the injured Pete Peters. The play had been stopped as Clark went in on the breakaway. We could not hear the whistle and the roar of the crowd.
I think there's been a penalty called against New York. Wow, everything happening. Gary, I don't care if the Islanders come up with some Stanley Cup winning heroics in the final 7:57 or overtime or whatever. This has been quite an effort by the Philadelphia Flyers. Morrow has just drawn 2 penalties for slashing and then unsportsmanlike conduct. Look at that action at the goal crease. Now, where does Morrow get in on the act? Right here. He gets knocked down. That upset him, I guess. There's Peters hurt. See that? The reaction. Morrow. Now, is this the slash coming up? Keep it going. Keep it going. Right there. So that's penalty number 1. There's Harris blowing the whistle. Morrow says something which we will not repeat for our family viewing audience. And in the meantime, Pete Peters was shaken up, but now he's on his feet. 4 minutes worth of time against Morrow.
Well, there's just something about Philadelphia Flyers and the years that they've been in this league. They have won the cups and they know what it takes. And somehow they just keep going.
Live from the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Now Morrow's off at 12:03. So Gary, of the last 7:57 in regulation time, right here, the Islanders play short for 4 minutes.
Well, the opportunity is here, Dick. Right now, with 4 minutes to go, they can salt this game away and move on to another game in New York.
Well, there you see some grim faces on the Islanders bench as the Philadelphia power play gets set, with Ken Morrow now in the penalty box.
7:51 left on the clock now in regulation time. Philadelphia with a 4-minute power play and a 4-2 lead. Barber shooting it in. Holmgren from back of the net. Lost control of the puck. Lorimer turning with it to Lane. Checked by Propp. Propp from the corner. Lindsman coming out of the corner. Here's Propp shooting. Loose puck. Propp scores! Brian Propp. And this time I'm sure it's Brian Propp. And it's 5-2.
And they'll still have a power play. Only 1 penalty wiped out by the goal. Morrow will stay in with 2 more minutes to serve. Gary, it was Propp who had that big chance in the previous power play. Smith made the save. But the Islanders have just fallen down in front of their own net right here.
Well, something that the Islanders didn't do at home is allow that second shot. And Propp, he makes no mistake, just a little wrist shot on the short side. You'll see Lane, Holmgren in front. Lane's worrying about Holmgren. And Propp gets the opportunity and the rebound, and he doesn't make any mistake.
12:33, the time of the power play goal by Propp. The second penalty to Morrow is in effect, so the Flyers are still on a power play. It's 5-2 Philadelphia as Barber sets it up. Lindsman into the corner, but it went loose around on the boards. Potvin steers it ahead to Lauren Henning. Lindsman with a great burst of speed. Took him to the ice. There's going to be a penalty to Lindsman, although Wally Harris did not indicate the penalty right away. Then after a bit of a delay, he called a high sticking penalty on Lindsman. There'll be 5 aside now with 7 minutes left in regulation time.
And a minute 33 left in the second penalty to Morrow. You're right, Jim. Harris, the play had actually started up the other way. And he finally put the arm up, but the call has been made. And Linseman joins Morrow in the penalty box. Teams will play 5 aside.
I think he said a cheap one. I don't know what else he said. He's always going to say something.
It's amazing how players always have to say something to the official after he makes the announcement to the timekeeper there. Just remind him what a bad call he figured he got. The 2 coaches looking on for Al Arbor. They may have to wait a couple days for the Flyers' continuation.
Power play goal by Propp came from Linseman and Holmgren at 12:33. Then Linseman in the penalty box, as you see him right there. He is off for high sticking, the time 13 minutes.
The earlier goal in this period was Rick McLeish from Bridgman at 9:43. Bridgman with a great backhanded pass. Set up McLeish's second goal of the game. His 9th of the playoffs, his 3rd of the final. And this is McLeish after the puck. Scooped high by Langevin. Busnick brings it in, but it's offside. And those in the stands disagree with Ray Scampanello. Talks to Mel Bridgman, who says, here's a little tape for you, Ray. Take it back to 12th tomorrow. Stephen Thurston. Looks very cool at the Islander bench, and quite a few Swedish reporters covering his exploits in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Jimmy Watson with the puck. Right now, the teams are 5 aside. The Flyers have a 5-2 lead with 6:36 left on the clock. Langevin behind the net for Bob Nystrom. Nystrom shooting it in. Peters handles it. Scoops it to McLeish. Try to get it to Busnick, who scooped it out. Langevin has the puck. He's out there with Lane, Nystrom, and Wayne Merrick. Bob Daly goes to the puck. He's on defense with Moose Dupont. The Flyers up front have Whitman and McLeish as Dupont gets the puck over to Rick McLeish. Dupont and Nystrom bumping each other away from the play as Rick McLeish winds up. Trying to get the return pass. Has to poke it to the corner. Goes to the bench on the line change. Thurston to Potvin as the teams change on the fly. Islanders caught making a change. Crowd reacting to too many men, but the play went on as Gillies scrambled back into the bench. In comes Reggie Leach. Hooked by Pearson. All down by Potvin. Play goes on. The puck is underneath them. We'll have a face-off.
Now Morrow has left the penalty box, but 1 second still shows on the clock against his time. So now they are trying to get him back into the penalty box. Morrow skating toward the Islander bench, now looks up. I would imagine he's saying, "You told me to come on," which is usually the case down there. Our minor officials, a subject of an intermission feature earlier in our show. And a little bit of trouble right here. But Morrow has gone back to the penalty box.
Dick, that happened to me in Montreal one time. The guy talked to me in French. I thought he said go. And with 5 seconds left to go, my penalty, I jumped on the ice. We ended up scoring a goal, and it was disallowed. And then sent me back in there to serve the rest of the time. But
I remember the incident. I didn't realize it was you.
That was me. Dummy, they called me that day.
You know, you talk about Stefan Persson, Jim, the surprising number of Swedish reporters here. I sat in on one of their sessions with them the other night after a game at the Island. I understood 2 words. I heard him say Philadelphia and forechecking. Other than that, I'm afraid I didn't quite catch on. Well, there's Pat Quinn. They are, I think, feeling that the Islanders were caught with too many men on the ice. Not Morrow leaving the box necessarily, but on the line change, Gary, just before that. So when he comes out of the box, 27 seconds will remain in Linzmann's penalty. It's a 5-2 Flyers lead. You see the sign there. They'd like McLeish to get a hat trick. He has 2.
Bobby Clark is getting ready to go into the face-off area. He's talking to John D'Amico right now. But, you know, he said his hockey club, they haven't been playing poorly. It's just that the Islanders were forcing them into mistakes, and that's a real credit to the Islanders. He continues to say, but you watch out for our club. We're going to bounce back, and they certainly did that tonight.
Butch Goring and Bobby Clark ready to face off. The boys from Manitoba, 30-year-olds who've been 2 outstanding players in their careers. Daly's shot stopped by Billy Smith as Bob Daly got good win into that one. Now the Islanders are on a brief power play. Linzmann still in the penalty box. Morrow's penalty time is up. 14 seconds left in Linzmann's penalty as Butch Goring moves in with the puck. Back to Pearson. A shot. He scores through the crowd. And with 5:03 left, it's 5-3 Philadelphia.
Goal came on the power play for Stefan Persson, his second power play goal of this game with just 3 seconds left in Linzmann's penalty.
You know, you really have to be impressed with the Islanders, the way they move that puck around, and they just don't give it away. Look for the open man. Happens to be Pearson this time. You notice the players in front of the net. Sutter setting up the screen in front of Daly. He got good position on him. Peters never had a chance on the shot. That's one thing about the Islanders. You know, they don't just depend on one guy. There's somebody on every line that will get in front.
14:57, the time of Pearson's goal. Leach rolls the puck into Islander territory. We're now with 4:52 left on the clock. 5-3 Philadelphia. Richmond jumping the puck back in, but it's called for an offside. And that's where they'll face off the puck. They've been scooped off the ice. The Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Well, there's the score, 5-3. Now, Gary, just less than 5 minutes to go. The Flyers fire and fall back. I'm sure it's in their minds.
No, they have to go on the offense, keep going the way they've gotten this lead here. That's with by good, strong forechecking, but important, and I'm sure Pat Quinn will point it out, is just to make sure we have one man coming back so that the worst that we can get it is a 3-on-3 situation coming in.
So it was Persson with the third goal.
From Goring and Potvin. Persson from Goring and Potvin at 14:57. The power play goal snapped a string of Flyer goals. There's Brian Trottier. He's won a Calder Trophy as the league's rookie. He won a Hart Trophy as the most valuable player, the Ross Trophy as the scoring champion. Might win a Conn Smythe Trophy and a Stanley Cup this season. But right now, Philadelphia, with a 2-goal lead and 4:40 left, appear to be prolonging the series. Bobby Clark with a nice move, has Leach on his right. Takes the pass, Reg Leach. Centering it, Barber, shot, a rebound, a scramble, and Billy Smith covered it up. Barber robbed by Smith.
You know, Gary, from a Philadelphia standpoint tonight, Peters has been very large. But who has been the guy up front that, to me, really has been the man? It's Bobby Clark. I just think he has been win-lose, or you can't tie in the playoffs.
Well,
he's just been magnificent.
He doesn't know when to quit, and it's tremendous the effort that he gives. There's the power play goal, a good shot from the point with a screening in front of Peters, no chance. But he keeps giving and giving all the time.
And he just won a face-off to Busnick, putting it behind the net. Potvin with the puck, 4:20 left, 5-3 Philadelphia leads. Persson to Bourne, checked by Jim Watson. Stephen Pearson with the puck to Bossy, tipping it in. Peters controls it. Watson, or Bridgman it was, banking it around on the boards. Persson kept it in. Loose puck in front. Bossy couldn't get a shot. Clark coming out. Barber on his left, joined by Bridgman on his right. Barber in the clear. Billy Smith checked it away from Bill Barber. Trottier, checked by Clark. Clark having a great shift. Goes to the bench. The crowd applauds Bobby Clark, as they've done for 11 seasons in Philadelphia. 3:40 left.
We have temporarily lost video from the network. Please stand by.
Breakaways the other night at the Coliseum. They said he's so big, he's a very imposing figure. Spearing one-handed glove saves. He's very cool. Well, that's the time remaining. 3:02, a 2-goal lead for the Flyers.
There's Peters
to stay alive.
This Peters kid is good size too. He's about 6'1", 190 pounds, solid. Linsman and Merrick. Wave Linsman.
He set up. He's facing the man in the slot, not the puck or the face-off man.
Lane with the puck. Lane and Morrow on the Islander defense. Up front they've got Nystrom, Stanley, and Merrick. Nystrom centering it, tipped away. Holmgren to Linsman. He's got good speed, Linsman. Drops it. Holmgren, shoot, score! Paul Holmgren, 6-3, Philadelphia.
That's all she wrote for tonight, folks.
I guess almost fitting, Gary, with Holmgren not expected to play as late as this afternoon. That's the third time they've beaten Smith on the short side.
Well, a lot of courage. Holmgren, not a graceful skater by any means. Why not give it to the speedster? Now, once you get the defenseman turned around, there's Holmgren all by himself, well executed, and the shot to the short side. But a good play by Holmgren, and now Linsman for the drop pass.
Right off the goal post. Tremendous reaction here to Holmgren's goal, his 10th of the playoffs. 17:26 was the time of the goal. 6-3, Philadelphia leads. It looks like the Stanley Cup will continue Saturday afternoon at the Nassau Coliseum, unless the Islanders pull out a miracle with 2:12 left. Langevin moving in. Hit the side of the net with a shot. Puck is scooped away. Linsman joined by Barber and Leach. Shot blocked by Gillies with less than 2 minutes to play. Barber getting in front, hand on it. Shoots! He went wide with a shot. Sutter hands it to Clark. Clark will take a little time here. Try to get a pass across to McElhargy, who ran into Gillies. Langevin to Sutter, ran into Wilson. Bobby Clark has the puck. There's a good look at Bobby Clark, an assistant coach for the Philadelphia Flyers, has come up with a great effort in this game they have to win. The crowd is standing here now. Daly with the puck. Barber in the clear. Smith stopped him. Bob Nystrom watched by Mel Bridgman in front. The crowd, a tremendous response here at the Spectrum, where they hope to have another game on Tuesday. They just might. Bridgman dumps it in. In goes Howard, bumping with Hill. Langevin with the puck. We're in the last minute now. 53 seconds left. Langevin for Nystrom. Puck too far ahead. Hill coming out. Onside, says the linesman. Howard has the puck. Listen to the crowd in Philadelphia. They've just put up a sign. Next game at home will be Tuesday. There might be 28 seconds left. Philadelphia 6. New York Islanders 3. The Islanders are leading the series, but it'll now be 3 games to 2. Rick McLeod from Mel Bridgman. Gordy Lane goes after Bridgman. Puck stopped at the side of the net. Morrow turns with the puck to Nystrom. There's a fight going on behind the play. Bridgman has his gloves on, fighting with Howard. Bridgman and Howard doing a little softening up for game 6.
You know, there hasn't been much in this type of action, if you want to call it that, tonight, but with just 8 seconds left in the game, it kills the standing ovation, Jim, for one thing. And it's too bad that this had to happen at this particular time for no real reason at all in back of that net. Gary, I don't know, when all this is said and done, this final series, my most lasting impression might be the gutsy effort that the Flyers came up with here tonight.
Well, you got to give them a lot of credit. You know, they knew what they had to do because the Islanders have an excellent hockey club. I mean, they're so well disciplined due to the work of Val Arbor. There's the hit by Howitt and Bridgman come together.
Oh, now Billy Smith. We were watching the replay. Smith has broken his stick. He took a swing, I guess, at somebody. Or else, how did he break his stick? Whether we got that on camera. Gary and I were watching the monitor. The crowd reacted. And I think Smith's goaltender stick has been... Yes, it is. He's got just the handle of it in his hand. There it is.
Very untimely, rather foolish move by Billy Smith. But I guess he's steaming about the score and the situation. But there's only 8 seconds left in this game, and it's going to take a while to play it.
Now let's see what happens with Billy Smith as Bridgman skates by.
Yeah, one elbow and one stick. Oh, why do we have to see things like that?
Jimmy Watson Watson trying to be peacemaker out there, talking things over with Smith. Lane, Morrow all huddled around. That was the walk Bridgman took from the ice surface to the Flyers dressing room. He'll have an early shower.
Now some of the fans have started to congregate over the passageway where the Islander players will have to walk down. They're trying to clear the way down there.
Well, Dick, well, we have a moment now. The Flyers going into New York where they've only won one game in the last 5 years.
That's right. One out of, what is it now, 18, something like that, Pete?
A very difficult task that they must face. And you can bet that the Islanders will be revved up trying to win the Stanley Cup in front of their home folks.
Well, the exchange between Bridgman and Howitt was unfortunate. The exchange between Bridgman and Smith totally unnecessary. Winding everything down like this with 8 seconds left.
Look at the perspiration on the brow of John D'Amico. What a job these guys do under extremely difficult conditions.
You know, Jim, they were almost out of this one on a rather easy night for them when you get a couple of teams like the Islanders and the Flyers.
That just wouldn't have been fair, would it?
We only had 26 minutes in penalties until this last 8 seconds. 6 minors to the Islanders and 7 to the Flyers. 2 Islander power play goals. Stefan Persson has scored 2 for the Islanders. Brian Trottier 1 to equal a record of points in the series, and there's Lauren Henning. And of course, Rick McLeish with a pair for the Flyers. Clark, Busnick, and Propp have scored the others. Ben Wilson, Jack McElhargy, Pete Peters.
You know, you look at the Flyers team right now, and it may be a factor before this series is over, are the injuries. We know that Holmgren and Watson have injuries. They were able to play tonight, but DuPont has been having knee problems. Daly, of course, with that shoulder. And you wonder how much tape these guys can take, keep bouncing back like this.
The penalty clock. That's Bridgman with a couple of minors. And Smith with a major penalty. Now, Bridgman and Howitt likely have also drawn 5-minute majors that they would not show on the clock.
We're announcing the penalties.
New York number 31, Billy Smith, 5-minute major for slashing.
Smith draws a major for slashing.
2 minutes for elbowing, 2 minutes for roughing, 5 minutes for fighting, and 8 minutes for conduct.
Bridgman gets a double minor, a major, and a 10-minute misconduct.
Also 2 minutes.
So they pile up more penalty.
A bench minor to the Flyers as well.
Jim, your 26 minutes, I guess, went down in one fell swoop. Almost as much in this one sequence here.
We'll give the Flyers 11 more minutes, so in the game they have 25, plus 10-minute misconduct for Bridgman, 35 minutes in penalties. That's not a heavy total for a Flyer team that has led the league in penalties again this year. But the Islanders have had more penalty minutes than the Flyers in the playoffs this year. Of course, that series with Boston had a lot of penalty time. As you look at Billy Smith getting a major. And there's the official score, trying to get it all down with 8 seconds left in the game.
The fans have thrown things down in the area of Billy Smith's net, so they've got to wait now while all this is picked up. 8 seconds left in the hockey game. We say regulation time during the playoffs, but it's the hockey game right here with the Flyers leading 6-3. And Gary, we've got a minute here. Okay, the Flyers regrouped. They came up big here tonight when they had to. They have stayed alive. Now, Saturday afternoon.
Well, it's the same situation for the Islanders now. They got their seat kicked a little bit tonight by the Flyers, and they came back in the third period, something that the Flyers have not been able to do. But look at the pressure will be on the Islanders now. They know they don't want to go into a 7th game back home in Flyer territory, so they have to win it Saturday afternoon right in New York.
Wally Harris with 8 seconds left in his long night of work as Brian Propp and Ken Linsman are serving teammates penalties.
You know, that second goal by Ricky McLeish was his 48th career playoff goal, and that gives him the leadership of the Flyers.
8 seconds left on the clock as they'll finish out the time here. We'll hope no further incidents occur, and There's no problem where the Islanders leave the ice. A little bit of a push between Morrow and Hill off the faceoff. Smith out of the net. Looks a little tentative, and the time runs out. The game is over. The Flyers, with Pete Peters being congratulated by Jimmy Watson, surrounded by teammates. Bobby Clark comes in. There's Phil Meir, the backup goaltender. The Islanders heading to the dressing room, and the Flyers celebrate one victory. They need two more. The Islanders need one more.
I think a big goal was the one by Busnick, which came just 48 seconds after Trottier had tied the game 2-2 late in the second period. That allowed the Flyers to go into the dressing room at the end of 2 with the lead. And they carried on from there. Well, you wouldn't know it from the looks of their faces. They aren't exactly elated.
They're not out of the woods yet.
No, but they're still in the series, and that is all they wanted to do tonight.
You're right.
In just a moment, our 3-star selection.
Come along with me and take the Cougar XR7 Test Drive Challenge.
Experience the ride and handling, the standard flight bench seating, automatic transmission, and power front disc brakes. Experience the comforts of a totally re-engineered, smaller, more fuel-efficient Cougar XR7. Experience the computer accuracy of optional electronic instrumentation and keyless entry system.
Take control of your own Cougar.
Take the Cougar XR7 Test Drive Challenge today at the Sign of the Cat.
It's a beautiful experience.
It's for people like you, people who do what you want at Canadian Tire. Anything you want to.
For a great selection of gardening supplies at down-to-earth prices, come to Canadian Tire. You'll find the things you need in the spring to help you grow the garden you want in the summer.
It's for people like you, people who do Canadian Tire.
The Philadelphia Flyers force a 6th game in this best-of-7 Stanley Cup final. They'll be going back to the Nassau Coliseum on Saturday afternoon. Dan Kelly, 3 stars.
Pete Peters has to be the story of the game, Dave. They held the Flyers in the game early. Even in the third period, it was 3-2. He made a couple of key saves on Pearson and Merrick, and then Mr. McLeish goes down and gets what proved to be the eventual winning goal. Peters is the story of the game. Had 38 shots, handled 35 of them, and I thought played a marvelous game. McLeish, I think you have to go to the second star. He got a goal early in the game, then he got what proved to be the eventual game winner. He came up big when they really needed it. And I thought Stefan Pearson played an outstanding game, had a couple of goals for the Islanders, and an assist as well, and I picked him for the 3rd star.
3 stars, Peters, McLeish, and Pearson. And so the final score of tonight's game, the Philadelphia Flyers 6 and the New York Islanders 3.
Sunday on CBC, Cities presents Rome with Anthony Burgess.
This is the city that wasn't built in a day. It certainly can't be seen in an hour. Unless, that is, you see it with somebody like me. I'm not a guide, I'm not even a tourist. I'm merely an aging British writer who came to Rome to write.
Anthony Burgess is your host when Cities presents Rome, Sunday night at 10 on CBC.
News Magazine. Close up on today's major news events, the issues, the people, the world.
CBC reporter Sheldon Turcotte reports from Iran, a nation struggling with instability. News Magazine, Monday at 10:30 in Newfoundland.
The thrill of international competition on Sports Weekend, Saturday at 3 Eastern Time. The Canada Cup Swimming Championships from Vancouver. Horse racing from Woodbine in Toronto. International rugby from Vancouver with Canada against Wales. And the Canadian Weightlifting Championships from Regina. It's all on Sports Weekend, Saturday afternoon at 3 Eastern Time on CBC.
This was a close game for 2 periods. In fact, the Islanders had the lead after one on Stefan Persson's record-tying power play goal, the 12th the Islanders have scored in this series. The Flyers came back to take a 3-2 lead in the second period. Clark, McLeish, and Busnick with one by Trottier to tie a record, his 27th playoff point. And then the Flyers went to work in the third period. Rick McLeish's second goal, Brian Propp on the power play, and Paul Holmgren with one more by Stefan Persson. 6-3 Flyers. Game 6 again is 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time at the Nassau Coliseum Saturday afternoon. And we'll have Don Cherry with us to talk about his situation in Colorado and his future situation in the National Hockey League on Coach's Corner. So we'll see you Saturday afternoon for Game 6. And for now, we say goodnight from the Spectrum in Philadelphia, home of the Flyers, who continue along the Stanley Cup trail. CBC Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Golden. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. Canadian Tire Dealers with 320 stores to serve you across Canada. And by the Ford Motor Company of Canada, on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. This program is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the entertainment and enjoyment of the viewing audience. Reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, without the expressed written permission of Hockey Night in Canada, is prohibited.
This is CBC. David, Keith, and Robert Carradine as the younger brothers. James and Stacy Keach as Jesse and Frank James. Dennis and Randy Quaid as the Miller brothers. Christopher and Nicholas Guest as the Ford brothers.
You don't give us no trouble, mister.
The most famous outlaw heroes of the West ride again. The Long Riders.
Now playing at the Vanity Theater and Twin Drive in Windsor, also the Capitol Chatham.
I finally found it. Reliable car service at a really good price. Right here at Sears Tire and Auto Center. Gordy here takes good care of my car. Right now he's giving a Chariot an all-weather oil change at a great low price. He'll replace your oil, filter, lubricate your car, and check all fluid levels for safety. Good guy, Gordy. I trust Sears to do all my repair work now. It's like having a friend in the business, right, Gordy?
Trust your car to Sears Tire and Auto Center. Satisfaction or money refunded.
Better living starts at home. At home.
And now it's Home Hardware's spring event with values on everything you'll need. Like Esso's premium multi-grade all-season Esso Extra 10W30 motor oil. Exceeds all warranty requirements. Get ready for summer now. And the jet pump from GSW. Convertible, easy to install with both shallow and deep well ejectors. 1/3 horsepower motor for wells up to 70 feet and 1/2 horsepower unit for depths up to 90 feet. So don't miss the spring event now at Home Hardware.
Mames Fashions in Huron Plaza has built a reputation on selection and quality for larger fashions. The latest spring arrivals, size 12 to 52, are at Mames Fashions. Big, beautiful women have curves too, and Mames has the fashions to fit those curves. Listen for Mames' new song, Big, Beautiful Women, and visit Mames today at Huron Plaza, Huron Church Road. Save up to 35% on fashions. Sports and action, Saturdays at 7:30 on TV9.
Tonight, forest fires threaten to engulf communities in northern Ontario and Manitoba.
Canadian interest rates plummet to their lowest level since last summer. Jimmy Carter helicopters over the area devastated by the eruption of Mount St. Helens. And in our special report, we examine the effect that economic sanctions have had on Iran.
The National with Knowlton Nash.
Good evening. Forest fires are raging tonight in northwestern Ontario.